Chapter 22-24. Murong Yu was stunned for a moment before he reacted. Thus, he retracted his aura. At this moment, Murong Xian and the others finally dared to approach. Otherwise, the murderous aura just now was too strong, forcing them not to approach. "Father, you're finally back. We were worried to death." Murong Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Murong Yi looked at Murong Yu with a smile. "Father, it's great that you're not dead." Murong Yu was speechless. How could this guy speak like that? How could he speak like that? However, Murong Yi was also concerned about Murong Yu, so he didn't say anything. "Sacred Lord, it's fortunate that the people from the Infinite Palace made a move this time. Otherwise, I'm afraid it's more ominous than auspicious." The four of them were too audacious. However, the Infinite Palace was also furious and has already flattened the entire Four Symbols sect, Sun Yu said in a deep voice with a murderous aura. If the Infinite Palace hadn't made a move first, he would have brought Shengzhen's group of powerhouses to flatten the Four Symbols sect, who asked their patriarchs to be so bold as to ambush and kill Murong Yu. Murong Yu nodded. This time, he indeed had to thank the Infinite Palace. If it weren't for the Infinite Palace's pursuit that seriously injured the four patriarchs of the Four Symbols sect, how could Murong Yu turn over a new leaf, killing the four patriarchs in one fell swoop? Thus, he gave a brief account of what had happened after he was captured. Although he didn't say much, and he only briefly mentioned it. However, everyone kept breaking out in cold sweat as they listened. Murong Yu said it without any pressure, but they knew how painful it was for Murong Yu in the past month or so. How cruel and inhumane the torture he suffered. "Alright, don't look so scared. Didn't I come back? Moreover, my strength has skyrocketed." Murong Yu smiled and waved his hand. At the same time, he asked about the situation during this period of time. They learned that there were still a few months before they arrived at the Alliance's location. Therefore, they still had to stay here. Not long after, Murong Yu went to the Infinite Palace. At this time, Shengzhen was stationed not far from the Infinite Palace. Therefore, the news of Murong Yu's return had long reached the ears of the Wanliang Palace's palace master. This time, Murong Yu went to thank the palace master of the Wanliang Palace. He was a man of principle. If someone saved him, he would be grateful and thankful. However, a favor was returned with a favor. Murong Yu would not be truly loyal to the Wanliang Palace master because of this matter. Being loyal to others was not Murong Yu's Tao. Only with an invincible heart could he become a chaos controller. As for those who chose to be loyal, they were no longer invincible in their hearts. Regarding Murong Yu's return, the Wanliang Palace master was naturally delighted. He immediately encouraged Murong Yu and gave him some essence crystals. Murong Yu returned to Shengzhen's camp. After returning, he immediately entered Hichu Luoshu. After breaking through, his strength and soul power could fuse with more vortexes. Originally, the limit of the vortexes fused with his strength and soul power was 100,000 vortexes. However, after breaking through, this limit no longer existed. He could fuse more vortexes into his strength. 200,000? Or 300,000? Murong Yu did not know for the time being. However, even if he fused with one more vortex, his strength would increase by a bit. If he had fused 200,000 or even 300,000 vortexes when he fought against the Four Symbols Patriarch, he would not have been defeated so miserably. Even if he could not kill a rank 9 Tao Lord, the other party could forget about killing him. First, he would increase his power vortexes. After entering Hichu Luoshu, he immediately activated the ability to accelerate time. This was his greatest advantage. To Murong Yu, the short cultivation time was always his constraint. As long as he was given enough time, his strength would surpass everything. Therefore, he could only rely on Hichu Luoshu's ability to accelerate time to accumulate 110,000 vortexes, 120,000 vortexes, 200,000 vortexes. Morong constantly fused vortexes, and his lethality became more and more terrifying. After breaking through to the true self realm, his strength soared by 10,000 times. In theory, the number of vortexes he could fuse would also increase by 10,000 times. However, this was impossible. However, increasing it by a few times was not a problem at all. Many years later, Morong felt that his vortexes of power had reached their limits again. At this time, his strength had already fused 500,000 vortexes of power. That was 5 times the previous number. 5 times the number of vortexes meant that his battle strength would increase by at least 5 times. However, that was not how it was calculated. With each additional vortex, Morong's battle strength would increase exponentially. Of course, it was impossible for there to be no limit. There was still a limit. Morong's current battle strength was at least 10 times greater than before he started cultivating. And this was before his soul had fused even more vortexes. 10 times the lethality. If I can fuse my soul into 500,000 vortexes, my strength will be even more terrifying. When that time comes, how much will my battle strength increase? Morong was filled with anticipation. Many more years passed. Morong naturally fused his soul into 500,000 vortexes as well. His battle strength once again skyrocketed. 50 times. Morong tested it out. His current battle strength was 50 times greater than before he started cultivating. What did 50 times mean? Before this, his battle strength was comparable to a mid-level Tao Lord. However, Morong was completely confident that he could sweep through any mid-level Tao Lord. Of course, if he encountered a peerless existence on the level of a Tao Lord, he would still not be a match. But at least he could escape. This was because his speed had increased by 50 times. Originally, his speed was about the same as that of one of the 4 symbols patriarchs, a Tao Lord. But now that his speed had increased by 50 times, the Tao Lord of the 4 symbols sect could only eat dust behind him. Actually, speed was also a part of battle strength. At least, my life-saving ability has increased explosively on the battlefield this time. Morong was very satisfied. Although his battle prowess did not increase to a higher level, he was already satisfied. After all, he was only at the true self realm now. Yes, the true self realm has the terrifying battle strength to sweep through mid-level Tao Lord. This is definitely the best medicine for sneaky people. Morong chuckled as he came out of the Hichu Luoshu. At this moment, a few months had passed in the Holy World. A few days after Morong came out, he received the order to set off for the Alliance. Thus, under the lead of the Infinite Palace, 100,000 forces and 100 trillion cultivators marched toward the Alliance in a grand manner. What did a trillion cultivators mean? Vast and majestic, extremely spectacular and shocking. However, compared to the vast and boundless universe, a trillion cultivators were just some insignificant life forms. This was because there were simply too many life forms in the universe. Even the smallest galaxy had more than 100 trillion cultivators. The Pluto galaxy. This was a galaxy with an extremely harsh living environment. Ferocious beasts ran rampant, and there were all kinds of celestial traps and dangers everywhere. Before this, there were basically no factions or sects here, and the number of cultivators was pitifully small. However, after the Sacred Cosmos Alliance set up this place as the Alliance headquarters, the Alliance's experts had stationed themselves here in large numbers. Ferocious beasts running rampant? Kill them all. Obliterate them all. Many traps? They were all razed to the ground. Thus, in a short period of time, this place became the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's headquarters. It was difficult to see any powerful ferocious beasts or terrifying traps. When Morong arrived, he discovered that the entire galaxy was covered in layers of formations and restrictions. From afar, the entire Pluto galaxy was shrouded in clouds and mist, and one's divine consciousness could not extend in at all. Among these formations and restrictions, offensive and defensive formations took up most of them. After all, this was the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's headquarters, so it was bound to be heavily protected. Otherwise, if the Sacred Cosmos or Sacred Cosmos experts were the first to break through, everyone would laugh their heads off. In the entire Pluto galaxy, densely packed armies were stationed in different places. Murong Yu's trillion cultivators were like a drop of water in the ocean when they entered this army. It was not enough to reach the apex, not to mention Shenzhen's 2 armies. At the same time, the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's headquarters, Pluto Galaxy, Main Hall. Thousands of people were gathered here. Although there were only 1,000 people here, which one of them wasn't a peerless expert with a prominent status. Those who were qualified to enter this place were all deacons of the Alliance. 1 Alliance leader, 10 vice leaders, 100 elders, and 1,000 deacons. This was the pinnacle of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's power pyramid. The most prominent and powerful big shots in the entire Sacred Cosmos. However, these people all looked gloomy. The latest news is that most of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's power has been invested in the Martial Dao universe. Their military strength is ferocious and their battle power is terrifying. The Martial Dao universe is not waiting for death either. They are now fighting with the Sacred Cosmos. A large number of cultivators and experts are dying every day. However, both sides are in a stalemate. The Martial Dao universe is unable to drive the Sacred Cosmos invaders out in a short time. The Sacred Cosmos is also unable to attack the Martial Dao universe. A vice leader of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance said in a low voice. However, the gloominess on the faces of the people in the hall became more and more intense. Originally, they should be happy to see such a situation. Why was it like this? The Sacred Cosmos is collapsing every day. It is not far from destruction. The Sacred Cosmos has been attacking the Martial Dao universe for a long time. Now they are in full swing. According to the news I received, their next target is our Sacred Cosmos. Old Ancestor Hun Yi, who was also one of Murong Yu's clones, said in a low voice. As soon as he finished speaking, every big shot's body shook slightly. This day had finally come. Fortunately, they had prepared for a rainy day. Now that the alliance had been established, the experts from all sides had been sent over. It was enough to resist the invasion of the Sacred Cosmos. However, when they thought of how powerful the Sacred Cosmos was, the big shots' faces turned pale. Most of the Sacred Cosmos is fighting with the Martial Dao universe. Less than 10% of their forces are targeting us. Whether it is in terms of experts or military strength, they are not very strong, Old Ancestor Hun Yi said slowly. Chapter 22-25. Less than 10% of the army wasn't very strong. Even though Ancestor Hun Yi said so, the thousands of people present remained silent. In fact, every single one of them had a grave expression on their faces. In fact, this was only 1% of the Divine Universe's army. However, this was still a terrifying army, enough to suppress the entire Divine Universe. Otherwise, why would the Divine Universe only send this many soldiers? They must have thought that less than 10% of their forces would be enough to sweep across the Sacred Universe and suppress the Sacred Universe. Otherwise, they could have sent more troops to attack the Divine Universe in one fell swoop. Then, they would use the Divine Universe as a shield to attack the Martial Universe. After a long while, another deputy leader said slowly, "We can only counter soldiers with arms and water with an earth weir." There were 10 deputy leaders in the Divine Universe, and each of them represented a colossal force. For example, Forefather Hun Yi represented the Soul Race. It could be said that the 10 vice leaders of the Sacred Universe represented the 10 greatest peak forces of the Sacred Universe apart from the super forces that did not appear in the world. Although the Divine Universe's cultivators are known for their ferocity, they're always shrouded in the aura of death. Since they've come from afar to attack our Sacred Universe, we'll have to fight this battle well. It'll be best if we can kill them outside our sacred universe. At the very least, we'll have to stop them outside our universe. Otherwise, if they invade the divine universe, it'll be too much damage to us, an elder said. Hearing this, everyone nodded their heads. Another elder said in a deep voice, "If we can wipe out the invaders, we can strike a blow to their morale. Perhaps the martial Tao universe will gain the upper hand because of this and blast the divine universe out of the martial Tao universe? I'm afraid that's not appropriate. If the divine universe is defeated by the martial universe, they'll definitely attack our divine universe with their defeated army. At that time, we won't be able to stop them," an elder said. "Are we going to let them invade our divine universe? If that's the case, our divine universe won't be far from destruction." Someone disagreed. The elder who spoke earlier shook his head slowly. "Don't deny my idea yet. I have a suggestion." "Do you have any suggestions?" A deputy leader looked at the elder who spoke. The elder continued, "We need to stop the God Universe's forces outside the sacred universe. But we don't want to beat them too hard or even cripple them. We only need to confront them outside the universe." Old Ancestor Hun Yi, who was also Murong Yu's clone, had a glint in his eyes. At the same time, the others also reacted. They were all top-tier great beings in the sacred universe. None of them were idiots. "You're saying that we'll confront them outside the sacred universe and prevent them from taking a single step forward, but we won't be willing to leave. This way we can delay until the end of the war between the martial Tao universe and the divine Tao universe," an elder said with joy. In fact, the meaning of this sentence was to delay less than 10% of the enemy's forces. They couldn't invade, but they couldn't bear to leave. This way, the divine cosmos would not send reinforcements. By then, the sacred universe would be safe. Good. That's what we should do. However, the divine Tao universe is coming aggressively. We have to start the first battle and beat them hard. We have to let them know that the sacred universe is not to be trifled with," a deputy leader said coldly with murderous intent. "What? We're going to the battlefield?" At Shengzhen's camp, Murong Xian and the others were surprised when they received the news that they were going to the battlefield. Didn't they say that the war hadn't started yet? However, Murong Yu already knew about it, so he wasn't surprised. Of course, he didn't say anything to the others. This time, they were going to the battlefield in absolute secrecy because they were going to ambush the divine Tao universe. There was a universe between the sacred universe and the divine Tao universe. It was a broken universe that had been destroyed long ago. Legend had it that this universe used to be more powerful than the divine Tao universe and even the martial Tao universe. But it was a pity that the universe died overnight. Moreover, this universe was different from the sacred universe. There were only vast continents in the entire universe. There were no planets. However, at this moment, the continents in the entire universe were barren, as if after a huge earthquake. Other than some weeds and ferocious beasts, there was nothing else. This was because, other than the dense death aura, there was no chi of heaven and earth in the entire universe. All cultivators needed chi of heaven and earth. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to improve their cultivation at all. Therefore, other than those plants and ferocious beasts that swallowed the death aura, no cultivators usually came here. Of course, other cultivators couldn't come to this universe was also an important reason. In reality, only great Tao realm experts could roam freely in the endless primal chaos, leaping from one universe to another. This was because the two universes weren't connected together. Instead, they crossed an extremely long chaotic zone. Legend had it that there were countless treasures in the chaotic zone. Moreover, they were all supreme treasures, even more precious than Tao artifact. However, no one in the sacred universe had supreme treasures of this level. This was because in the endless chaos there was only chaos. There was no direction at all, nor was there any chi of heaven and earth. Moreover, there was extremely strong pressure. When ordinary people entered the endless chaos, they would be crushed and eventually return to the endless chaos. Great virtue realm powerhouses could resist this pressure and enter the endless chaos freely. However, if they lost their direction in the endless chaos, they could only stay in the endless chaos forever and be alone. Moreover, since ancient times, there were many great virtue realm powerhouses who were lost in the endless chaos. Therefore, although there were supreme treasures in the chaos, very few people would rush out of the universe and enter the chaos. However, the Almighty of the sacred universe had built a teleportation array between the sacred universe and the broken universe. Therefore, the soldiers of the Sacred Universe Alliance didn't need to cross the endless chaos and could directly teleport to the broken universe. It was the same for the divine universe. The existence of this broken universe happened to be the buffer zone between the sacred universe and the divine universe. Otherwise, if the divine universe directly attacked the sacred universe's losses would be terrifying. It's very oppressive here. There's no chi of heaven and earth. We can only rely on origin crystals to recover. Murong Xian looked at the dark sky and said unhappily. They had already teleported to the broken universe and set up camp. Therefore, you have to pay attention to the control of your power on the battlefield. Otherwise, no matter how high your realm is, if you don't have power, you won't be able to withstand a single blow, Murong Yu said in a low voice. Not only that, but the death aura in the broken universe was also constantly attacking their physical bodies. Once it was contaminated, they would be injured and their combat power would decrease. Therefore, even if they didn't fight, they had to consume a certain amount of power to resist the invasion of the death aura. It could be said that even if they didn't fight, they would constantly consume their power. Fortunately, the supplies we need are all provided by the Alliance. Awesome, Li Ling said with a smile. What's the use of these things? Murong Xian was a little disdainful. The Alliance's supplies are only enough for us when we're not fighting. If there's a big battle, it won't be enough at all. In my opinion, it's more reliable to snatch the resources of other places. Everyone in the divine universe was an invader. No one in the sacred universe would be lenient. They would just kill them. You guys do as you see fit. Don't say anything else. Quickly familiarize yourself with the environment here. Murong Yu waved his hand. He didn't care about the consumption of power. In the broken universe, other than the death aura, there wasn't even chaos energy. In fact, the death aura was just a type of chaos energy. However, Murong Yu couldn't directly absorb the death aura. However, he had the Tree of Life. Every single moment, the Tree of Life could absorb a tremendous amount of chaotic force from the endless chaos and supply it to him endlessly, making him inexhaustible. Therefore, even in the broken universe, he wouldn't be in danger of exhausting his power. This was a huge advantage. In the tent, the Wanliang Palace's palace master sat boldly on the main seat, while Murong Yu and the others stood on either side. According to the intelligence, the Divine Universe's vanguard will be here soon. The mission given to us by the higher-ups is to ambush these people. We don't need to kill all of them. We just need to severely injure their vanguard. This is our first battle. I hope everyone won't disappoint me. The Wanliang Palace master's eyes flashed with a cold light as he glanced at everyone. Everyone was shocked. They knew that the Wanliang Palace master wanted to take the credit. Only with enough military credit would his position in the alliance rise. Therefore, everyone quickly expressed their stance. Murong Yu also pretended to be the same as everyone else. The Wanliang Palace master waved his hand. Immediately, a picture scroll condensed from power unfolded in front of everyone. Murong Yu only took a glance and knew that this was a part of the map of the broken world. However, it was extremely far away from the place where they set up camp. The Wanliang Palace master pointed to a point on the map. This is the place where the Divine Universe's army must pass. Our mission is to ambush here. Murong Yu looked over and saw that it was a towering mountain range with overgrown weeds. It was the best place to set up an ambush. Moreover, the broken universe's suppression of spiritual sense was extremely brutal. By the time the divine universe's people discovered the ambush, it would be too late to retreat. In this battle, it's not just our Wanliang Palace. There are many forces involved in the ambush. Therefore, we can only win and not lose. In the end, the Wanliang Palace master warned in a deep voice. Chapter 22-26. With Shenzhen's 1 billion cultivators, Murong Yu was lying in ambush at the designated location. Apart from Shenzhen, there were 100,000 forces from the Infinite Palace. There were even many captain-level forces like the Infinite Palace lying in ambush here. There were trillions of troops lying in ambush. This was a war between universes. There were easily trillions of cultivators. Apart from these ordinary cultivators, there were also a large number of Great Tao Realm experts. This place is really suitable for ambush. There are trillions of experts lying in ambush here, but we can't see anything from afar? Murong Xian exclaimed. If this wasn't a broken universe but a sacred or divine universe, they wouldn't be able to lay an ambush with so many people. Just by gathering together, that terrifying aura would spread far and wide, shooting straight into the sky. Even if they hid, they couldn't hide completely. But now they were lying in ambush in the broken world, just like a mortal army lying in ambush. They couldn't see anything strange. So, the broken universe is used as a battlefield. Pay attention, today we can ambush the Divine Universe's team. But in the future, the Divine Universe's people can also ambush us. With our strength, once we fall into an ambush, the consequences will be unimaginable, Murong Yu said in a deep voice. Everyone nodded, knowing how serious this matter was. Originally, Shenzhen's overall strength wasn't very good. If they fell into the encirclement of the Divine Universe, they would probably be completely wiped out. Moreover, this was a war, so the chances of falling into an ambush were very high. After lying in ambush for a few days, the Divine Universe's people were still nowhere to be seen. Fortunately, everyone was a powerful cultivator and didn't need to eat or drink at all. Although he had lost a portion of his strength in the process of resisting the invasion of the Death Aura, he had been able to recover his strength by absorbing crystals or pills. Otherwise, the problem of eating and drinking for trillions of people would be a headache for the Sacred Universe Alliance. They're here. Everyone, pay attention. On this day, Murong Yu's heart trembled slightly. In the depths of his soul, he seemed to see a blurry image. In the distance, a large group of people, trillions of cultivators, were rushing over like a flood. Those people should be the Divine Universe's people. Could he foresee the arrival of the godly universe? This was a great divine ability that appeared after Murong Yu's cultivation level increased. Or was this the ability to deduce the secrets of the heavens? Of course, it was impossible for Murong Yu to predict the future. He was able to see the people from the Divine Universe in advance because they were not too far away from the ambush. Otherwise, if the distance was too far, Murong Yu would not be able to see it. Murong, Xian, Duanmuqing, and the others were shocked. Not long after, a terrifying aura that could tear the heavens and earth apart swept over from afar. Wherever it passed, the deathly aura of the shattered universe was forced to scatter to the sides. His imposing manner was like a torrential river. There were so many people that one couldn't see the end of them. Even compared to the sacred cosmos's ambush, it was about the same. This was only the enemy's vanguard. However, what made Murong Yu heave a sigh of relief was that although the Divine Universe was stronger than the Saint Universe on the whole, the Divine Universe was much stronger than the Saint Universe. However, the average cultivation level of these vanguard troops was not much higher than theirs. Most of them were Celestial Realm and True Self Realm cultivators. Although the Divine Universe was powerful, most of them were cultivators below the Great Tao Realm. Even though there were more great Tao realm powerhouses than the Saint Universe, it was impossible for them to be everywhere. Wait for us to go over first before making a move. Looking at the invaders from the Divine Universe, Murong Yu's heart was surging with excitement. The cultivators who had never seen such a big lineup were even more excited and nervous. The Divine Universe's army flew past rapidly like a torrent. These people were all flying without regard for anything. They did not need to worry about the consumption of power at all. Indeed, their God universe was about to be destroyed. What they had to do now was to take down the Saint Universe and the Martial Tao Universe as quickly as possible. As for the origin crystals and various other resources, so what if they were used up? As long as they took down these two universes, they could replenish their resources. Otherwise, they would all die. Murong Yu did not know how the Saint Universe had obtained the information. Seeing God Universe's army enter their ambush circle without any preparation, God Universe's army entered their ambush circle. After half a day, trillions of people finally entered the ambush circle. Attack! Kill these damned invaders! At this moment, an earth-shattering roar came from afar. At the same time, waves of terrifying power erupted. All kinds of brilliant power light soared into the sky, almost illuminating the dark sky. Attack! Kill! Murong Yu roared. He took the lead and soared into the sky from the ambush. His entire body was filled with terrifying power. Immediately, he unleashed the Soul Storm and ruthlessly tore at the Divine Universe's army that had yet to react. Kill! Murong Xian and the others also made their moves. One after another, they unleashed their strongest attacks, bombarding the invaders with all their might. Poof! 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 Wherever Murong Yu's soul power passed, the cultivators from the Divine Universe died. It could be said that they died in large numbers. Under one attack, millions of people's souls were shattered and they died a violent death. However, millions of people were nothing compared to an army that numbered in the trillions. Therefore, Murong Yu continued to attack. Buzz! The Chaos Blade swallowed and spat out a light that made people's souls tremble. It slashed out fiercely. Suddenly, a huge blade light that was hundreds of millions of square meters swept out and slashed toward the Divine Universe army. This was a Tao Lord level attack. How could the ordinary soldiers of the Divine Universe resist it? They could not resist at all. Therefore, wherever the blade light passed, large numbers of people died. These people were all invaders. If they invaded the Divine Universe, then the people of the Divine Universe would be exterminated. Therefore, Murong Yu did not hesitate to kill. Being merciful to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. If Murong Yu let them go today, would they let the people of the Divine Universe go tomorrow? No. Therefore, the two sides were actually mortal enemies. It was either you die or I die. After being ambushed, hundreds of millions or even billions of cultivators died in an instant. The people of the Divine Universe did not expect that the people of the Divine Universe could predict the future and actually set up an ambush here. They also did not expect that the people of the Divine Universe would dare to ambush them here. Therefore, for a moment they were all stunned. Counterattack, counterattack. Kill these ants of the Divine Universe. Once we kill them, we'll be able to charge straight into the sacred universe and take over it. Brothers, think about the universe we are about to destroy. If we don't fight with our lives, we won't even have a home. We can only die. Suddenly, an angry roar came from the crowd. Wherever the voice passed, the stunned cultivators of the Divine Universe woke up from their stupor. In an instant their eyes turned red. Kill! Kill these ants and snatch the Divine Universe! The cultivators of the Divine Universe roared and launched a desperate counterattack. For our home, we must kill these invading scum today. Brothers, let's kill them! Leave no one alive! A great Tao realm powerhouse from the Divine Universe roared. They killed crazily. Swoosh! Suddenly, a shocking sword light burst out from the army of the Divine Universe. The sword light was about 100 million miles in size. It carried a destructive aura and annihilated the void. It slashed down fiercely towards Shenzhen. The moment he saw the sword light, Murong Yu's eyelids twitched violently. This was an attack from a great Dao realm powerhouse, and a Dao lord at that. In the entire Glory sect, there weren't many people who could handle this. If he slashed down, Shenzhen's 1 billion people would probably be wiped out. Sun Yu and the other Dao lords snorted and were about to attack. However, they were stopped by Murong Yu. You don't have to attack. You just need to stay in the crowd and try your best to protect our Shenzhen soldiers from being killed by the great Dao realm powerhouse. Leave this person to me. Murong Yu sneered as he stepped into the air. Swoosh. With a flash, he had already stepped out and stood in the sky, under the sword light. The divine universe doesn't even have a great Dao realm powerhouse? They actually want a true self-realm ant to block it? He's simply courting death. Seeing that Murong Yu, a true self-realm cultivator, dared to block the sword light of a Dao lord, the people of the divine universe were all disdainful. While they were feeling disdainful, Murong Yu had already made his move. He didn't seem to have done anything, but he punched out. In front of the sword light that was 100 million miles in size, Murong Yu's fist was like a dust star on the ground. However, it was just a punch. Crack! The terrifying sword light that carried the might of heaven and earth instantly exploded under Murong Yu's fist. It was instantly annihilated. As for Murong Yu, he stood in the sky without moving, dominating the world. The might of the Holy Master is invincible. Looking at this scene, everyone from Glory sect was greatly encouraged as they cheered. Their morale was high. On the other hand, the divine universe was stunned. Didn't they say that the cultivators of the divine universe were generally very weak? Why was this true self-realm cultivator so powerful? He shattered the attack of a Dao lord with one punch? Were the people of the divine universe all so powerful? If they were all so powerful, then how could the divine universe be their match? They were just going to be slaughtered, right? In an instant, the morale of the divine universe was infinitely low. They were frightened by Murong Yu. All of you, take a hit from me too. Looking at the army of the divine universe below, Murong Yu sneered. Suddenly, he slashed down with his saber. Swoosh. It was exactly the same as the sword light attack of the divine universe just now. However, the power contained in this strike was even more terrifying. Before it slashed down, the divine universe powerhouses felt their souls tremble. Chapter 22-27. You're courting death. A cold snort came from the crowd. The voice was not loud, but it suppressed all the worlds and reached Murong Yu's ears clearly. At the same time, a figure stepped into the air from the crowd. It was a middle-aged man, a supreme being at the Dao Lord level. He looked at Murong Yu with murderous intent and made a hand seal with both hands. Immediately after, a hand seal shattered the heavens and earth as it rapidly met Murong Yu's blade light. The Chaos Blade contained the power of chaos and soul suppression. It could mess up everything and suppress the opponent's soul. However, it needed to be close to or in contact with the opponent. This person knew how terrifying the Chaos Blade was, so he directly struck out with his power, wanting to shatter the blade light in the void. At the same time, the many cultivators from the divine cosmos beneath Murong Yu's feet roared as well. They either unleashed their strongest attacks or brought out their primal artifacts and magic treasures to furiously attack Murong Yu. They were all invaders, and their intentions were to be killed. Murong Yu sneered, and the 3,000 soul balls in his soul space went berserk. Soul power broke out of the soul space like stormy waves and swept out. Soul storm. Whoosh! Wherever the soul storm passed, a large number of cultivators in the divine universe died quickly. They could not resist at all. In an instant, the area millions of miles around Murong Yu became a vacuum. This was an army. How many cultivators were gathered in 1,000,000 miles? Millions of people were necessary, or even tens of millions of people. Just this attack alone was enough to make the enemy's experts furious. If this continued, although there were hundreds of millions of them, they would not be able to withstand a few slaps from an expert at Morong Yu's level. However, even after their deaths, their attacks were still directed at Morong Yu. Morong Yu was very confident in himself. However, he was not arrogant. He had already taken out Hichu Luoshu. Hichu Luoshu floated in the air above his head, and rays of yellow light shone down, enveloping his entire body. As for the incoming attacks, they were shattered the moment they came into contact with the light. Everything happened in the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint. Morong Yu's saber light only collided with the opposing Tao Lord's hand seal after exterminating these people. Boom! After an earth-shattering explosion, both the handprint and the blade light were instantly shattered. The aftermath of the power that was emitted directly annihilated the surrounding void. Retreat quickly. Seeing how terrifying Morong Yu's group attack was, a roar came from the God Universe army. At the same time, several great Tao realm experts soared into the sky. His divine sense had long since locked onto Morong Yu, and he charged over violently. In an instant, Morong Yu sensed that over 10 great Tao realm experts had locked onto him. However, his expression did not change. In fact, he even executed the army character technique. Instead of retreating, he advanced and charged straight at the great Tao realm expert. At the same time, the cultivators below the great Tao realm rapidly retreated, not daring to stay here any longer. In fact, other than preparing to surround and kill Morong Yu, some of the great Tao realm experts from the God Universe had already attacked the ordinary soldiers behind Morong Yu. Kill. Morong Yu did not pay attention to those people. Instead, he let out a roar and charged over with the Chaos Blade in his hand. Kill him! Basically, Morong Yu was the second great Tao realm expert to attack. The first to attack was the great Tao realm expert from the God Universe. He had slashed out that sword light first. If not for this, Morong Yu would not have attacked at all. After all, great Tao realm experts were great generals and would not attack easily. Over 10 great Tao realm experts unleashed their strongest attacks, attacking Morong Yu crazily. In an instant, the void where Morong Yu was annihilated by countless powers. With the Hichu Luoshu above his head and the Chaos Blade in his hand, Morong Yu executed the army character technique, and charged left and right amidst the violent powers. In an instant, he had broken out of the encirclement and charged into the group of great Tao realm experts. Soul Storm. It was still a soul attack. After using the soul attack, he locked onto one of the initial level Tao Lords and slashed down fiercely. Swoosh. The Soul Storm was Morong Yu's most powerful area of effect battle technique. It directly covered over 10 great Tao realm experts, forcing them to withdraw their powers and defend their souls. However, the countenance of the initial level Tao Lord that Morong Yu had locked onto changed drastically. Apart from the Soul Storm, he also had to face the power of chaos and the power of soul suppression. The power of chaos caused his thoughts and powers to become chaotic. The power of soul suppression caused his soul to be suppressed. Therefore, he only had time to reveal a look of horror on his face. He did not have time to defend or dodge at all. Pooh! With a raise of his hand and a slash, a huge head flew high into the air. When the head flew up, he no longer had any signs of life on his body. His soul had already been shattered when his head fell to the ground. The first great Tao realm expert was killed. Moreover, he had almost no ability to fight back. The most terrifying thing was that he had died under the blade of a mere true self-realm cultivator. This little bastard is quite strange. He's an expert of the soul race. Join forces with us and kill him. A Tao Lord from the Divine Universe roared in a low voice. He once again locked onto Morong Yu and attacked. The other 10 or so great Tao realm experts were also furious and attacked crazily. However, Murong Yu roared continuously. Relying on his speed that was comparable to a level 9 Tao Lord, he constantly shuttled through the crowd. Soul Storm, 10,000 layers of soul waves, Chaos Blade, and various other powerful battle techniques and magic treasures were constantly used by him. He did not fight them head-on at all. Pooh! Not long after, another high-level initial Tao realm expert was killed by Murong Yu. The ordinary soldiers of the divine universe were all scared off. When they saw Murong Yu flying over, they quickly retreated. There was no choice. Murong Yu's soul storm was simply too terrifying. Once he executed it, even great Tao realm experts would not dare to take it head-on, let alone them. Therefore, wherever Murong Yu passed by, these invaders from the divine universe would die in large numbers like wheat being harvested. There were countless casualties. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. More and more great Tao realm experts rushed over from afar and started to attack Murong Yu. In a short period of time, there were already more than 20 great Tao realm experts locking onto Murong Yu and attacking him. More than 20 great Tao realm experts surrounded and killed a true self-realm cultivator? Most importantly, this cultivator was completely unharmed. Instead, people from the divine universe kept dying? This scene shocked everyone who saw it. What kind of monster is this? He's actually so terrifying? Are all the people from the sacred universe such monsters? The ordinary soldiers of the divine universe were almost scared to death. On the other hand, the morale of the Sacred Universe Alliance was high. Especially Shenzhen and the others, it was as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Under the leadership of the many upper echelons, the divine universe soldiers were forced to retreat. Especially the Chaos Army and the Sacred Suppression Army. Under the leadership of Murong Xian, Jia Shui, and the others, they killed their way in and out of the divine universe army. They were extremely valiant. However, the overall quality of the divine universe was still slightly stronger than that of the sacred universe. Although they were ambushed and were stunned at the beginning, they quickly recovered. However, they quickly reacted and launched a frenzied attack. At this moment, the Great Tao Realm experts from both sides also attacked. Great Tao Realm experts, even initial Tao Realm experts, could kill countless true self-realm and selfless realm cultivators with a single slap. Therefore, they were the great killing machines on the battlefield. Fortunately, both sides had a large number of Great Tao Realm experts. Very soon, the Great Tao Realm experts from both sides clashed, preventing them from attacking the soldiers below the Great Tao Realm. Generals against generals, soldiers against soldiers. Although this was the case, the killing prowess of ordinary soldiers was still quite terrifying. On the entire battlefield, there would be a large number of cultivators dying every instant. This was the case for both the sacred universe and the divine universe. Blood flowed like a river. Broken limbs, minced flesh, and bones flew all over the sky. The thick smell of blood filled the area within a range of hundreds of millions of miles, not dissipating for a long time. Suddenly, an incomparably mournful scream fiercely rang out. A great Tao realm expert from the sacred universe had died. Murong Yu knew this person as well. He was one of the 100,000 forces in the Boundless Palace. There was only one great Tao realm expert. After this person died, the great Tao realm expert from the divine universe led his army and wiped out the 1 billion soldiers of the fallen great Tao realm expert in just a few breaths' time. In reality, apart from Shenzhen's army, which still maintained a complete formation and did not suffer great losses, the other forces had also died. The other forces had suffered great losses. It was very normal for hundreds of millions of people to die. Of course, this did not mean that the battle prowess of Shenzhen's army was much stronger than the others. Instead, Shenzhen's great Tao realm experts were much more than them. These great Tao realm experts did not show off. Instead, they hid in the army and fought together with the army. Because of their existence, Shenzhen's losses were basically negligible. On the contrary, The number of enemies killed by Shengzhen's army far exceeded the number of enemies killed by the other forces. This was the effect of pinnacle expert. The casualties were great, but the most eye-catching thing was the battle between Morong Yu and the others in the sky. At this moment, Morong Yu's opponents had reached over 30. Fortunately, these people were not very strong. There were almost no high-level Dao Lords, let alone Dao Lords. Therefore, Morong Yu could still rely on his powerful speed to fight with them ferociously. In fact, the great Dao realm experts from the divine universe were dying continuously. Although Morong Yu was covered in blood, most of the blood on his body was from the enemies. Even though he was injured, his life force washed over him, allowing him to recover to his peak state. The most terrifying thing was that after such a long battle, his strength did not seem to be depleted at all. On the other hand, not long after their opponents attacked with their full strength, they needed to swallow pills or absorb origin crystals to recover their strength. Chapter 22-28. Behind both armies, some of the upper echelons of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance and the Divine Cosmos Alliance floated in the void and watched the battle. Every moment, millions of people would die. However, these upper echelons and big shots expressions did not change at all. Or perhaps, to them, these ordinary cultivators were just cannon fodder? In order to win the battle, millions of people would die every moment. It did not matter even if it was 10 million or 100 million people. However, their gazes were not on those ordinary cultivators who were killing each other. Instead, they were focused on the great battle in the sky. There were only a few dozen people fighting in the sky, but it attracted the attention of the upper echelons of both sides. That's right. This was the battle between Morong Yu and the great Dao realm experts of the divine cosmos. Who is that person? A true self-realm cultivator is able to resist 30 to 40 great Dao realm experts of the divine cosmos? His battle prowess is not bad. Behind the Sacred Cosmos Alliance, a middle-aged man who was surrounded by people like stars suddenly spoke. The surrounding great Dao realm experts were at a loss because they did not know Morong Yu at all. They had not even seen Morong Yu before. At that moment, the Myriad Amount Palace Master took a step forward and bowed to the middle-aged man. Then, he said respectfully, "Lord Deacon, that person is Morong Yu. He is one of my capable subordinate. His battle prowess is heaven-defying. Since the start of the battle, he has already killed 10 great Dao realm experts of the divine cosmos." The Sacred Cosmos Alliance actually had a deacon commanding the battle here. However, this was also very normal. In fact, it was not surprising for the Sacred Cosmos to send out an elder. Swoosh! Everyone looked at the Myriad Amount Palace Master in surprise. The deacon from the Sacred Cosmos also revealed a surprised expression. "Dongju, I didn't expect you to have such a genius. This person has to be nurtured well. You have also nurtured a capable general for the Alliance. I will remember your contribution." Therefore, everyone looked at the Myriad Amount Palace Master, who was also Dongju, with envy and jealousy in their eyes. They all knew that the Myriad Amount Palace Master had not even taken action yet. However, the deacon had already regarded him in a different light. If Morong Yu's contribution was greater, the Palace Master of the Wanliang Palace would probably be put in an important position by the deacon. On the other hand, the Infinite Palace expressed its gratitude happily. This old fox was also an old fox. Morong Yu was not trained by him at all. However, he didn't even blush when he took the credit for it. Morong Yu was completely oblivious to this as he continued to fight. On the other side, the big shots of the divine universe were watching everything. "My lord, although this kid is only at the true self realm, he has already killed over 10 of our great Dao realm experts. If we allow him to continue his rampage, I'm afraid it will affect our morale. Now, our morale has been greatly affected. Why don't you let me kill him?" Finally, the experts of the divine universe could no longer sit still. A cultivator at the level of a Daolord requested to join the battle, intending to kill Murong-Yu. Alright. Leaving such a person alive is a disaster. Go and kill him, the big shot from God Universe said in a low voice. Hence, that great Dao realm expert had already taken a step out and instantly disappeared on the spot. Although he was besieged by 30 to 40 great Dao realm experts. However, by relying on his frightening speed, Murong-Yu was able to fight them to a standstill. In fact, Murong-Yu even occasionally killed their great Dao realm expert. All of a sudden, Murong-Yu's heart was suddenly enveloped by an extremely intense aura of death. The aura was so strong that even his soul started to tremble intensely. A Daolord expert has made his move. Murong-Yu instantly reacted in his heart. Following that, he let out a furious roar. He instantly condensed all of his strength on the surface of his body. At the same time, a punch blasted out rapidly. During this process, his figure also retreated rapidly. Boom! Right at this moment, a fist that wasn't very big suddenly appeared out of thin air. The fist was the same as an ordinary person's fist, but in the eyes of everyone, it seemed incomparably huge, like an immemorial primordial star. It emitted a terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth, intimidating heaven and earth, shaking the heavens. Boom, 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 a large amount of the void where the fist was located was annihilated, and a huge black hole actually appeared. And this black hole was rapidly expanding in all directions. All the power and even light that came into contact with the black hole were directly devoured. They disappeared without a trace. If Murong-Yu was devoured, he would probably be instantly annihilated like those power and light. Oh no. The moment the fist appeared, the palace master of the Wanliang Palace in the distance shouted in his heart. At the same time, he had already taken a step forward and charged towards Murong-Yu. Although Murong-Yu's battle prowess was heaven-defying, the gap between him and a Daolord was huge. If a Daolord expert was the emperor among cultivators, then Murong-Yu was an ant among cultivators. There was an insurmountable gap between the two. However, the other party, a dignified Daolord expert, actually wanted to launch a sneak attack on Murong-Yu. It was obvious that he wanted to kill Murong-Yu with a single strike. He didn't allow anyone else to save him. Indeed, even if the palace master of the Wanliang Palace made a move, it was completely too late. Just as the palace master of the Wanliang Palace, Dongju, took a step forward, the attack of the Daolord expert was about to bombard Murong-Yu. If Murong-Yu took this attack head-on, he would definitely be killed. A cold light flashed through the eyes of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's deacon. Murong-Yu was a genius, a young man worth nurturing. If he was given enough time, he would definitely become an extremely powerful Daolord expert. Therefore, he wouldn't allow Murong-Yu to be killed by the Daolord expert. Therefore, he made a move. Your opponent is me. Just as the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's deacon made a move, that big shot from the Divine Cosmos Alliance also made a move. He actually blocked the attack of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's deacon. Even if he only blocked it for an instant, Murong-Yu would die a billion times over. Apart from himself, no one else could save him. Murong-Yu knew this very well. Therefore, he never put his life in the hands of others. He had to try to save himself. Hichu Luo Shu. Murong-Yu roared furiously in his heart. Immediately, the He-Tu and the inscription of the Luo that was originally floating in the void above his head began to spread out. In a fraction of a second, the Hichu Luo Shu had transformed into a painting that covered the heavens and the earth. At the same time, under Murong-Yu's control, the Hichu Luo Shu directly blocked in front of him. At the same time, he continued to retreat explosively. Myriad waves of soul. Blade of chaos. 9 syllables of truth. Bang. Hichu Luo Shu wasn't able to block the Daolord's attack at all, and he was sent flying by a single punch. Fortunately, Hichu Luo Shu was the #1 book in the world, and it wasn't something that a mere Daolord could shatter. Therefore, Hichu Luoshu hadn't suffered any damage at all. However, Hichu Luoshu was only equivalent to a Daolord level Dao artifact. The might that it emanated was extremely limited. So, Hichu Luoshu had only been able to offset a small portion of the attack, and the rest had been converted into overflow damage. Pooh! Murong Yu's mind was directly shattered. At the same time, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Fortunately, the mind wasn't the soul. Otherwise, Murong Yu would have died from the overflow damage. The myriad waves of soul were basically unable to do anything to the Daolord, and they were only able to offset a small portion of the attack before they were dispersed. The energy of chaos and soul suppression from the Blade of Chaos seemed to be unable to do anything to the Daolord as well. Conversely, the Blade of Chaos was even blasted flying by a single punch. The price Murong Yu paid for this was that both his hands had been shattered. At this moment, an emperor that carried the might of the heavens from the primeval times stepped through space and walked over with large strides. A simple punch smashed towards the Daolord. Bang! After a shocking explosion, the emperor seemed to have let out an unwilling roar of rage, and his tall and mighty figure was directly shattered. In the end, it was Murong Yu who wasn't strong enough. Otherwise, the emperor that he summoned would have been able to kill the Daolord with a single punch, and not be blasted apart after a portion of the Daolord's attack power was weakened. Even his strongest single attack wasn't a match for the Daolord. Moreover, the Daolord's speed was far above his own. Murong Yu knew that he couldn't escape this calamity today. However, he was absolutely not someone who would sit and wait for death. Even if he knew that he wasn't a match for the Daolord, he still had to fight until the end. Akala Seal. This was a move from the 9 syllables mantra's confrontation technique. The confrontation technique was one of the most powerful defensive moves in the world. Furthermore, the immovable Bright King Seal was Murong Yu's strongest defensive move. It was many times stronger than the so-called invincible 10 directions technique. The instant Murong Yu formed the seal, a transparent shield enveloped Murong Yu's entire body like an egg. On the battlefield, practically everyone's gazes were focused here. The Divine Universe's side naturally hoped that Murong Yu would be killed with a single punch. On the other hand, the Saint Universe's side hoped that Murong Yu would be able to resist it. Especially the members of Shengzhen's side, their hearts had risen to their throats. In the blink of an eye, the Daolord's fist had smashed onto the Akala seal. At this moment, the Daolord's fist was actually unable to continue forward. It had actually been blocked by the Akala seal. It had been blocked. The Saint Universe's side, especially the members of Shengzhen's side, cheered. On the other hand, the cultivators of the Divine Universe had expressions of disappointment and shock. Even a Daolord is unable to kill Murong Yu? Is Murong Yu really so heaven-defying? He's only at the true self realm now. If he breaks through to the Daolord realm, then wouldn't he be the strongest existence in the world? At that time, who would be a match for him? At that time, he'd probably be able to destroy a myriad of universes with a single punch, right? Rumble, in practically an instant, a wave of sounds that sounded like an egg-shell shattering resounded from Murong Yu's body. Thus, to everyone's astonishment, they watched as the energy barrier created by the Akala seal suddenly and rapidly tore apart. In the end, everything was transformed into powder, including Murong Yu, who was within the shield. Murong Yu was unable to reverse the situation in the end and was killed by the Daolord. Chapter 22-29. Murong Yu had been killed? The morale of the Sacred Universe Alliance instantly plummeted when they saw this scene. Because Murong Yu's previous performance hadn't just allowed him to go head-on against 30 to 40 Dao realm experts of the Divine Universe, he'd even found an opportunity to kill the experts who'd surrounded him. It could be said that during this period of time, Murong Yu was like a god of war in the hearts of the cultivators of the Sacred Universe. Even though it had only been a short period of time, Murong Yu's prestige among them had already surpassed the sect masters of their own forces, and it was even higher than the palace master of the Wanliang Palace. Even the deacon's prestige was far inferior to Murong Yu's. After all, even though they were strong, they weren't familiar with the others. Moreover, they hadn't done much on the battlefield. So, when Murong Yu was killed, it was a huge blow to them. As for the Divine Universe Alliance's side, they cheered loudly. Murong Yu had gone up against 30 to 40 Dao Realm experts by himself, and he'd been ceaselessly killing the Dao Realm experts who'd surrounded him. This had caused them to feel extremely pressured. If such a person didn't die, the pressure on the Divine Universe Alliance's side would suffocate them. Father! Holy Lord! When they saw Murong Yu being killed, Murong Xian and the others roared furiously. Their eyes were bloodshot, and it was even to the extent that blood was about to seep out. Their fury burned the 9 heavens. Kill him! Murong Xian roared with grief and indignation, and he led the troops behind him to charge forward. Fourth brother, calm down. Murong Xian wished for nothing more than to kill that Dao Realm expert. However, he was still relatively calm. That Dao Realm expert could even kill Murong Yu, let alone them? The difference between them and the Dao Realm experts was too great. Not to mention that Shenzhen had only brought 1 billion cultivators. Even if there were 1 trillion times more, they still wouldn't be able to do anything to Dao Realm expert. Charging forward was just courting death. Don't be rash. Perhaps the Holy Lord is still alive. Sun Yu also walked over and suppressed Murong Yi. This was to prevent Murong Yi from rushing forward impulsively and being killed for no reason. Father is not dead? Murong stared blankly, then glanced at the treasure space and found that Murong Yu's soul jade slip was still there. The soul jade slip did not shatter, which meant that Murong Yu was not dead. However, they clearly saw that Murong Yu had been blasted until not even a speck of dust remained. What was going on? Of course, the fact that Murong Yu was still alive was what they wanted to see the most. It's over. Murong Yu has been killed? The palace master of the Wanliang Palace immediately stood up with a bitter look on his face. The war had just begun, and Murong Yu had already helped him make contributions. If this went on for a long time, his status would definitely rise. But now it was such a pity. Whoosh. In the end, the palace master of the Wanliang Palace continued to rush over. Murong Yu is dead? Then I'll kill him. In this way, perhaps I'll be able to save the morale of the Sacred Universe Alliance. The Daolord who'd killed Murong Yu laughed coldly. He stretched out his hand with the intention of grabbing the Chaos Blade and Hichu Luoshu. These treasures were actually able to resist his attack without being damaged at all, and they were absolutely precious treasures. Then, is Murong Yu really dead? The soul jade slip did not shatter, so he's probably still alive, right? The situation had returned to the past. Murong Yu knew that he was unable to escape, so he could only form the Akala seal with the intention of resisting the Daolord's attack head-on. However, he was utterly unable to resist it, and it was simply like an ant trying to shake a tree. The most terrifying part was that Murong Yu's main soul wasn't within the Hichu Luoshu. In other words, his physical body and primordial soul had been blasted into smithereens and vanished without a trace. At this moment, Murong Yu was really dead. I'm going to die just like that? After Murong Yu had died, his consciousness still existed. The gap between me and a Daolord is still too huge. I'm truly unwilling to die just like that. If I'm able to break through to the initial Dao realm, then no one in the Daolord realm would be a match for me. Murong Yu roared with unwillingness in his heart. He knew that he was already dead, so he was unwilling to die just like that. All of a sudden, Murong Yu shuddered. Wasn't he dead? His body and soul have been blasted to the point nothing remains, so why hasn't his consciousness dispersed until now? This is the Phoenix's nirvana. Murong Yu suddenly exclaimed with surprise, and then he couldn't help but roar with laughter. He'd cultivated the Phoenix's nirvana to perfection a long time ago. It was a supreme bloodline ability of the Phoenix clan, and it was capable of resurrection. Theoretically speaking, the Phoenix's nirvana could be resurrected 3 times after it was cultivated to perfection. A very long time ago, Morong Yu had been killed once, and he'd used up a chance to be resurrected. Then, this was the second time. Morong Yu was extremely pleasantly surprised. He'd absolutely never imagined that he'd be resurrected by a supreme skill that he'd practically forgotten, the Phoenix's nirvana. If it wasn't for today, Morong Yu would have practically forgotten about this heaven-defying cultivation technique that he'd cultivated. Because of the Phoenix's nirvana, Morong Yu still maintained his consciousness. However, he was unable to see what was going on outside. Presently, it was like he'd been sealed within an independent space, and he was unable to understand everything that was happening outside. He wouldn't be resurrected for now. Morong Yu decided not to resurrect for now because he didn't know if that Tao Lord was still here. If that Tao Lord was still here and he was resurrected, then wouldn't he be slapped to death by that Tao Lord? So, he had to wait. After Tao Lord left, perhaps the Tao Lord of the Sacred Universe Alliance would make a move after he killed me, right? If he did, then his attention wouldn't be on me. So, I can resurrect now. After a short while, Morong Yu felt that it was time to resurrect. He was able to sense that he couldn't maintain his current state for long periods of time. After all, he was within a shattered universe. It would be a tragedy if he was unable to resurrect after maintaining this state for too long. Bang! With a command in his heart, Morong Yu appeared once more within the shattered universe. Right at this moment, a strand of terrifying energy swept over. Morong Yu was shocked, and he thought that he'd been locked onto by a supreme existence at the Tao Lord realm. So, he immediately retreated explosively. At the same time, he noticed that it wasn't him who'd been locked onto. The energy that had smashed over was merely the aftershock of the energy. Not too far away from him, 2 Tao Lords were in battle. One was the Tao Lord of the Divine Universe who'd killed Morong Yu and made him exhaust a chance to undergo nirvana. The other was the Palace Master of the Myriad Palace. Dong Ju's strength wasn't bad, and he'd completely suppressed the Tao Lord of the Divine Universe. However, Hichu Luoshu and the Chaos Blade were actually in the hands of that Tao Lord, and he was fighting Dong Ju. It was exactly because of the Chaos Blade that he was able to remain undefeated. Otherwise, he would have probably been killed by Dong Ju a long time ago. The corners of Morong Yu's mouth curled up slightly when he witnessed this scene, and he revealed a wisp of a cold smile. Hichu Luoshu, Chaos Blade, get back here! Morong Yu suddenly shouted explosively in his heart, and he was about to withdraw Hichu Luoshu and the Chaos Blade. The Tao Lord who held Hichu Luoshu and the Chaos Blade had already been killed by Morong Yu, so he hadn't been on guard at all. So, at the instant Morong Yu intended to withdraw Hichu Luoshu and the Chaos Blade. Swish! Swish! Hichu Luoshu and the Chaos Blade directly shot out from his hands, shattered the void, and rushed towards Morong Yu. In the end, Morong Yu stretched out his large hand and grabbed the Chaos Blade. Hichu Luoshu, on the other hand, was suspended in the void above his head again. The Tao Lord of the Divine Universe was shocked. He didn't know how Hichu Luoshu and the Chaos Blade had suddenly disappeared. All of this happened too quickly, and before he could react, the 2 treasures had already been withdrawn by Morong Yu. The Tao Lord powerhouse looked in the direction where the 2 treasures had disappeared. Then, he saw Morong Yu. "You're not dead yet?" In an instant, the Tao Lord powerhouse was horrified. It was as if he'd seen a ghost. This was because he'd previously confirmed that Morong Yu had been completely killed by him, and not even a trace of him was left behind. It wasn't just the Tao Lord who was shocked, even the Palace Master of Limitless Palace was shocked. At this moment, everyone who was in battle below noticed Morong Yu as well. Morong Yu hadn't been killed. The Hallowed Lord hadn't perished. The Hallowed Lord was too amazing. Even Tao Lords couldn't kill him. He must have hidden himself just now, right? We actually thought that he'd perished. Damn it! He's still alive? Exactly how monstrous is he? Even Dowlords can't kill him. When they saw Murongyu, the morale on the side of the divine universe rose explosively once more. On the other hand, the divine universe was in a more miserable state. Their morale had fallen greatly after they'd suffered the ambush. Coupled with the fact that Murongyu had fought 30 to 40 Dao realm experts by himself, it caused their morale to fall to rock bottom. After that, Murongyu had been killed, and their morale had risen slightly with great difficulty. Yet now it had fallen to rock bottom. The divine universe is nothing much. It's even inferior to us. Kill them! Kill these invaders! The members of the divine universe roared furiously. All of their strengths had risen by at least 10%, and they killed the divine universe army to the point they couldn't fight back at all. Of course I'm still alive. You're the one who's dead now. On the other hand, you're the first Dowlord realm expert I've killed. Murongyu laughed savagely. He directly erupted with a myriad of waves of soul that smashed towards the Dowlord. The Dowlord revealed a ferocious expression. Since you're still alive, then I'll annihilate you right now. As he roared furiously, he revealed his speed and pounced towards Murongyu. You can't go anywhere. Dongju laughed coldly and directly kept the Dowlord busy. He started to press down on the Dowlord. At the same time, Murongyu had pounced over as well. He'd launched a fierce attack from afar. The Dowlord wasn't a match for Dongju in the first place. Now, coupled with Murongyu's attack, it wasn't long before he was unable to hold on and was heavily injured. Murongyu, I'll leave the final strike to you. Dongju suddenly sent a voice transmission to Murongyu. Murongyu didn't hesitate to take a step forward, raise his saber, and directly severed the Daolord's head. A Dowlord had died. Chapter 2230. As they watched the Daolord's head shoot up into the sky, everyone who witnessed this scene was shocked. Murongyu had killed a Dowlord? And he was only at the true self realm. How could a Dowlord be killed so easily? Even if his body was destroyed, he wouldn't die so easily, let alone his head. This thought appeared in the minds of the people of the divine universe. However, after a long time, that person still hadn't revived. At this time, there was no longer any aura on the Daolord's body. Finally, even though they didn't believe it, they knew that the Dowlord was really dead. Murongyu had even killed a Dowlord. This was the first Dowlord to die since the ambush began. The Dowlord is dead. The divine universe is too terrifying. The ordinary soldiers of the divine universe started to panic. Once they panicked, their morale plummeted. The more they panicked, the more they didn't want to continue fighting here. Even the Dowlord was dead, let alone them? Therefore, some people fled without fighting. With the first, there would naturally be a second, a third, and even more. Finally, not long after Murongyu killed the Dowlord, the people of the divine universe no longer had any intention to resist and started to flee in disorder. The entire army started to flee. The army was defeated like a landslide. Billions of cultivators wanted to flee for their lives, and even great Dao realm experts couldn't stop them. Moreover, the Divine Universe Alliance didn't give them the chance to do so. Chase after them. Turn the world upside down and leave no survivors. The Deacon of the Divine Universe Alliance roared, his voice filled with excitement. He'd obtained a great victory in the first battle, and this had unknowingly raised his status in the Divine Universe Alliance. This time, he would gain a lot of benefits. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. As the Deacon of the Divine Universe Alliance roared, the great Dao realm experts on the Divine Universe Alliance's side all stood up and chased after the defeated Divine Universe. On the other hand, the ordinary soldiers also chased after them with murderous intent. On one side, their morale was high, and their killing intent was high. On the other side, their army was defeated like a landslide, and they had lost all will to fight. The difference between the Divine Universe Alliance and the Divine Universe Alliance was too great. The people at the rear fell one after another. In a few breaths, a large number of soldiers were killed. Terrifying. This defeat was the first defeat of the Divine Universe after the invasion of the Martial Tao Universe and the Saint Universe, right? The Shattered Universe was vast and boundless. In this great battle, Murong Yu and the others chased after the enemy for dozens of star field lengths before stopping. Because if they continued to chase, they would reach the headquarters of the Divine Universe Army. What they defeated was only the vanguard of the Divine Universe. Even so, the Sacred Universe's battle record was still quite terrifying. About 10 trillion invaders were killed. 1 trillion was a trillion, which meant that they had killed 1 trillion invaders this time. Blood flowed like a river, and corpses were everywhere. However, the Sacred Cosmos Alliance had suffered heavy losses as well. At least a few 100 million cultivators had perished. The number of people who were injured was uncountable. Of course, the Sacred Universe Alliance's losses were negligible compared to the billions of cultivators who had died in the Divine Universe. This was war. Even Tao Lords had perished, let alone cultivators of other realms. After cleaning up the battlefield, Murong Yu led Shengzhen to set up camp near the Infinite Palace. At this time, they were at the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's military camp in the Shattered Universe, guarding the throat passage into the Sacred Universe. If the Divine Universe wanted to invade, they would have to pass through here. Therefore, there would be more large-scale wars between the two universes in the following period of time. Either you die or I live. After leaving behind 50% of the spoils, Murong Yu brought the rest of the spoils to the Infinite Palace's main camp. This was one of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's systems. After a war, every army could clean up the battlefield. They only needed to hand over half of the spoils. After all, they all knew. The soldiers on the battlefield were fighting with their lives. If they were asked to hand over all the spoils, these soldiers would complain. Then, who would fight with their lives next time? Not only that, the Sacred Cosmos Alliance was fair in its rewards and punishments. People like Murong Yu who had made great contributions would definitely receive many rewards. Of course, the ordinary soldiers understood this too. They also needed to be paid. And where did the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's pay come from? It was none other than their original resources and these spoils of war. Moreover, the Alliance also gave a large sum of money to each soldier who had perished. Haha, Murong Yu, you're here? Good. Let's go to the Deacon together. Murong Yu had just entered the Infinite Palace's military camp when the Infinite Palace's palace master walked over with a hearty laugh. Just the two of us? Murong Yu was slightly stunned. Dongju nodded. Just the two of us. The others don't have the qualifications. After pausing for a moment, Dongju continued, Murong Yu, your performance this time was exceptional. The Deacon seems to admire you very much. I'm afraid there will be a great reward this time. Murong Yu nodded slightly. He had indeed been in the limelight this time, and had attracted a lot of attention. If the Deacon of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance didn't admire him, then he must be jealous. As they spoke, they had already arrived at the central military tent. In the tent, besides the Deacon of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance who sat in the main seat, there were many other experts sitting on both sides. These people were all captains and had similar statuses as Dongju. As for Murong Yu, he was the only one with a similar status. Schwa, when Murong Yu entered the central military tent, everyone, including the Deacon, looked over. Apart from the Deacon's gaze, which contained admiration, the others' gazes were filled with jealousy and fear. Obviously, they all knew what it meant for Murong Yu to be able to step into the central military tent today. Moreover, they had all seen Murong Yu's terrifying combat power. Which one of them wasn't jealous? Which one of them wasn't afraid? Although they were all at the Tao Lord level. If Murong Yu increased his cultivation level by another level, wouldn't he be able to kill them easily? Greetings, Deacon. Murong Yu cupped his fists towards the deacon in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. "All right, Murong Yu, sit down." The deacon smiled and gestured for Murong Yu to sit down. Murong Yu didn't show any signs of awkwardness as he sat down. In this battle, the Sacred Cosmos Alliance obtained a huge victory and killed 10 trillion people. I believe that this battle has already shocked the Sacred Cosmos. After the Alliance heard about this, they were also very happy. The deacon glanced at everyone and said in a low voice, "It's all thanks to the deacon's command. We were just following the deacon's orders." Before the deacon finished speaking, someone started to flatter him. Murong Yu didn't care about this. Perhaps this battle was really due to the deacon's efforts. But wasn't this person's flattery a little too obvious? Flatterer. Murong Yu felt some disdain in his heart. But what surprised him was that everyone else also started to flatter him, which made him rather speechless. The deacon also showed a satisfied smile on his face. He didn't know if it was because of this battle or because everyone was flattering him well. The Sacred Cosmos Alliance is a power with a complete system. We pay attention to rewards and punishments. This time, everyone had contributed to the success of the battle. Dongju. Dongju's body trembled slightly, and he stood up from his seat and stepped out. You contributed greatly to this battle's victory. Now I specially reward you with an energy meridian and 10 Dao artifact. An energy meridian? There was not a single person present who was not moved. What was an energy meridian? An energy meridian was similar to an immortal meridian and a godly meridian, but the energy it contained was countless times more powerful than the highest grade of energy crystal. Moreover, the energy in an energy meridian was very pure and could be directly devoured. Even to Dao Lords, it was extremely useful. However, an energy meridian was very rare. Although it couldn't be compared to a star core, it wasn't something that just anyone could obtain. Dongju's body shook violently, and he revealed a look of ecstasy. This energy meridian can allow me to break through. I can bid farewell to the predicament of being unable to break through for a long time. Dongju immediately put away these rewards with great gratitude. Murong Yu, this time, you fought 30 to 40 Dao Realm Dao Lords alone and killed more than 10 of them. Our Sacred Cosmos Alliance was able to achieve victory because of you. First, I specially reward you with 2 energy meridians and 20 Dao artifacts. Also, I promote you to the vice captain of the Infinite Palace team. After rewarding Dongju, the deacon started to reward Murong Yu. The death of 10 trillion soldiers was actually just the tip of the iceberg to the Divine Cosmos Alliance's army. The most important thing was that the enemy Dao Realm Dao Lords had died this time. An initial Dao Realm Dao Lord was much more important than 1 trillion ordinary soldiers. The death of 1 trillion soldiers wasn't much of a loss to the Divine Cosmos. But Murong Yu had killed more than 10 Dao Realm Dao Lords, so the Divine Cosmos Alliance's loss was huge. Hence, the reward this time was very normal. In fact, it was far from enough. This, Murong Yu was shocked. He knew that the previous battle had attracted the attention of the big shots of the Alliance, but he didn't expect the rewards to be so terrifying. However, he deserved all these things. Hence, he accepted all of them without hesitation. Murong Yu, I hope you can cooperate with Dongju more in the future and achieve more victories. The deacon encouraged him again. Murong Yu immediately expressed his stance. Apart from them, the others also had the same experience. But no one could compare to Dongju, let alone Murong Yu. In fact, apart from the energy meridians and Dao artifacts, the position of vice captain was also quite a huge reward. It should be known that Dongju was only a small team captain. With just this battle alone, Murong Yu was now on equal footing with Dongju. And if he made any more contributions in the future, it wouldn't be a problem for him to surpass Dongju. Now, I can be considered to have a large number of troops in my hands, right? Murong Yu thought to himself. The Infinite Palace had 100,000 forces under its command, and the total number of soldiers was about 100 trillion. And even if Murong Yu, as the vice-captain, couldn't command all of the 100 trillion soldiers, he could at least command a few tens of trillion soldiers. It could be said that he had a large number of troops in his hands. In fact, on this kind of battlefield, even 100 trillion people wouldn't be enough. The number of people and the number of peak experts ultimately determined the outcome of the battle. Chapter 2231. Murong Yu, congratulations on being appointed as the vice-captain. Your status in the alliance is almost the same as mine. After leaving the central tent, the Wanliang Palace's palace master congratulated Murong Yu in a strange tone. Murong Yu glanced at Dong Ju indifferently. He didn't hear any congratulations from Dong Ju's words at all. This guy was probably very unwilling to accept his promotion, right? Moreover, if this continued, his status in the alliance would definitely surpass Dong Ju's. It's all thanks to Lord Deacon's appreciation, Murong Yu said indifferently. He wasn't happy about the external gains or sad about it. A glint flashed across Dong Ju's eyes. Then, he sneered, Murong Yu, don't forget that you once swore your loyalty to me. Even if you become a deacon or even an elder in the future, you still have to be loyal to me. He was definitely suppressing Murong Yu. Murong Yu glanced at Dong Ju deeply. A cold, killing intent flashed across the depths of his eyes. From the beginning, he knew that Dong Ju didn't have good intentions. Therefore, he wasn't loyal to Dong Ju right from the start. After all, he had the heart of invincibility. Why would he be loyal to someone? At that time, he was just going through the motions. Moreover, his status in the alliance wasn't as high as Dong Ju's. In terms of strength, he was even weaker. Therefore, Murong Yu didn't fall out with him for the time being. I'll always remember this. After saying that, Murong Yu swaggered off. If this continued, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control the intense killing intent in his heart. Looking at Murong Yu's departing figure, Dong Ju sneered. Then, he quickly disappeared from the central tent. After returning to Shenzhen's camp, Murong Yu gathered all the great Dao realm experts and Shenzhen's upper echelons, such as Murong Xian, Zhang Ao, Duan Muqing, and the others. Holy Master, I'm afraid that there's going to be a reward from the higher-ups for your brilliant display of might this time, right? Looking at Murong Yu, Zhang Ao asked with a face full of smiles. Although the others didn't say anything, they all looked happy. Murong Yu smiled and waved his hand. All of a sudden, the rewards obtained in the central tent appeared in front of everyone's eyes. 20 Dao artifacts. There were also 2 arm-size things that looked like rivers. The crowd did not recognize it, but they could feel the pure and enormous power from the 2 rivers. Is this the Alliance's reward? 20 Dao artifacts? I feel a little dizzy. Young Man looked at the 20 Dao artifacts in shock and said slowly. Dao artifacts were not common goods. For example, out of the 60 great Dao realm experts that Murong Yu had subdued, less than 10 of them originally possessed Dao artifacts. One could imagine how rare Dao artifacts were. The Alliance was so generous because it stood at the peak of the sacred universe. These rewards were actually taken out from the entire sacred universe's treasury. Moreover, although 20 Dao artifacts were a lot, they were only rewarded to Murong Yu alone. The Sacred Universe Alliance did not feel any pressure at all. That's right. These rewards were given to me by the Alliance. However, I don't need these Dao artifacts. Therefore, I'll give these Dao artifacts to some of you today. Everyone's hearts tightened, and they all looked at Murong Yu with hopeful expressions. After all, who didn't want to possess a Dao artifact? With a Dao artifact, even if they couldn't unleash its full power, their strength would still skyrocket by several times or even 10 times. However, there are only 20 Dao artifacts. This means that some of you won't have a Dao artifact for the time being. However, I've promised that every one of you will have a Dao artifact. It's only a matter of time. Therefore, those who don't have a Tao artifact this time, don't be discouraged. Soon, you will also have a Tao artifact. Everyone nodded. They could understand. Next, they could only look forward to it. After all, they didn't know if they would have a Tao artifact. The two armies are Shenzhen's strongest battle teams. In this battle, the two armies have also contributed greatly. Therefore, I've decided to reward the two armies, 8 battle teams, and Murong Xian with a Tao artifact each. Do you have any objections? These 9 people definitely deserved it. Therefore, everyone nodded. No one had any objections. Therefore, Murong Yu chose 9 Tao artifacts to reward Murong Xian, Murongs Yi Gu Shiyang, Su Hegi Yu Jia, Duanmu Qing, Mu Lanchen, and Jia Shui. As for Zhang Ao, Yang Man, and the others, they were all elders of Shenzhen. However, they were no longer the commanders of the two armies. Therefore, they didn't have a share this time. Shenzhen suffered very few casualties this time. Apart from everyone who fought bravely, the ones who contributed the most were these great Tao realm experts. Therefore, I plan to reward the remaining 11 Tao artifacts to the 11 people who don't have Tao artifacts for now but are stronger. The stronger you are, the more you can unleash the true power of the Tao artifact. No one had any objections. Therefore, all 20 Tao artifacts were taken. Naturally, those who got Tao artifacts were very excited. Those who didn't get Tao artifacts for now weren't depressed either. They all knew Murong Yu's character. As long as they could get Tao artifacts, Murong Yu would reward them. And now, this was just the beginning. There was still a long time to go on the battlefield. Would they be afraid of not having Tao artifacts? These two are origin meridians, which are equivalent to immortal meridians and divine meridians. They can be directly absorbed and devoured to raise one's cultivation level. These are origin meridians. Everyone present stared at the 2 origin meridians that were only the size of shoulders. Everyone's breathing quickened. Even the lowest grade of origin meridians was countless times better than the highest grade of origin crystals. They were extremely useful even to great Tao realm experts. Of course, one could directly absorb the power of origin meridians to break through one's cultivation level. However, one's cultivation level couldn't be broken through just by accumulating enough power. It required a certain level of comprehension. Without sufficient comprehension, one wouldn't be able to break through no matter how many origin meridians one had. Of course, for those who had sufficient comprehension but lacked the accumulation of power, they would be able to break through after absorbing the origin meridians. Sun Yu, which of you great Tao realm experts have sufficient comprehension but lack the accumulation of power? Murong Yu looked toward the 30 great Tao realm experts. Sun Yu and the others all shook their heads. It was really too difficult to break through to the great Tao realm. Even if it was just a small realm, it would require an extremely long time to break through. Sun Yu said, "My cultivation level has already started to loosen up. However, I still lack comprehension. I think that if I continue to stay on the battlefield, it'll be of great help to my cultivation level." That's right. I think so too. After that great battle earlier, I'm even more confident in breaking through to the next realm. The other great Tao realm experts also expressed that they had gained some benefit. After all, great battles, especially great battles, were the easiest to stimulate one's potential. Under tremendous pressure and oppression, many people would comprehend some things that they wouldn't have been able to comprehend in the past. Murong Yu nodded. All right. Since that's the case, then I'll raise the strength of Zhang Ao and the others first. As he spoke, Murong Yu waved his hand and drew Zhang Ao and over 10 others into the Hichu Luoshu. Sun Yu, these alchemical pills and origin crystals are the rewards for the battle this time around. I'll have to trouble you guys for the rest. Murong Yu handed a spatial treasure to Sun Yu. It contained a large amount of alchemical pills, origin crystals, and even origin weapons. Rewards weren't just targeted at the upper echelons. Ordinary soldiers also needed to be rewarded. otherwise they'd be disappointed. Sun Yu and the others quickly went to distribute the rewards, while Murong Yu entered the Hichu Luoshu. At the same time, he activated the Hichu Luoshu's time acceleration ability. Murong, Zhang Ao, and the rest were all already existences at the peak stage of Selfless Realm. They were only a step away from breaking through to initial Dao Realm. Once they broke through, they would be Shenzhen's first batch of great Dao Realm powerhouses. As for Sun Yu and the rest, strictly speaking, they were not Shenzhen's disciples. Next, I'll urge the power of the Origin Meridian and provide it to you guys endlessly. What you guys have to do now is to comprehend and raise your cultivation realm. As he spoke, Murong Yu waved his hand. Immediately, one of the Origin Meridian released a loud roar and ultimately transformed into the size of an Origin star, suspending above everyone's head. Streams of high-grade and incomparably pure power emanated from the Origin Meridian, instantly drowning Murong, Xian, and the rest. Rumble, even though Murong, Xian, and the rest did not take the initiative to devour the power, the Origin Meridian's power gushed into their bodies crazily like a flood. It was at least 100,000 times the outside world's heaven and earth origin chi. The most important thing was that the Origin Meridian's power was extremely pure. They did not need to refine the impurities contained within at all and could directly convert it into their own power. As such, they only needed to continuously absorb the Origin Meridian's power to raise their power to the limit and then break through. Everyone did not say anything. They sat down cross-legged a distance away from each other and started to cultivate. The reason why they were separated was because they did not want to affect others. As expected, this is good stuff. Even great Dao realm powerhouses are envious of it. Seeing that everyone's power was rapidly increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye, Murong Yu revealed a smile on his face. In fact, these two Origin Meridian could also allow Murong Yu to raise his cultivation realm. However, he did not do so. He was already strong enough. Even if he were to raise his cultivation realm, it would only raise his physical body and cultivation realm. However, it was impossible for his soul realm to raise rapidly. Origin Meridian had no effect on his soul. Moreover, when Murong, Xian, and the rest became stronger, Shenzhen would become even stronger. After all, a truly powerful force was not only powerful in terms of their leader, but also in terms of the number of pinnacle powerhouses in the force. The leader had to be powerful, but the others also had to be powerful. There was still a huge gap between Shenzhen and the Infinite Palace and other forces. However, as the cultivation realm of Murong, Xian, and the rest continued to increase, Shenzhen would become increasingly powerful and gradually shrink the gap between them and the Infinite Palace. Then, they would completely surpass them. In the end, they would become the most powerful force in the world. Chapter 2232. While Zhang Ao and the others were cultivating, Murong Yu returned to Shenzhen and brought Zhao Jiqing and the 5 girls, as well as Murong, Lin, and the others into the Hichu Luoshu. Zhao Jiqing and the others had already reached the peak of the selfless realm, and were only one step away from breaking through to the initial stage of the Dao realm. Each of them was Shenzhen's backbone, the core figures. Inside the Hichu Luoshu, Zhao Jiqing, Li Feng, Fan Tong, Little Lion King, Big Black Dog, Fiery-Eyed Golden Ape, Giant Panda, and dozens of other humans or demons sat cross-legged on the ground, constantly drawing the power of the Origin vein above their heads and devouring it. These were the core figures of Shenzhen. If someone caught all of them in one fell swoop, Shenzhen would probably collapse. Of course, this was in the Hichu Luoshu, and no one could catch all of them in one fell swoop. If they all broke through to the initial stage of the Dao realm, dozens of people breaking through at the same time, how spectacular would that be? How shocking would that be? Murong Yu pondered in his heart. He watched from the side, and at the same time, he was also cultivating. All kinds of battle skills had already been cultivated to the extreme, and could no longer be improved. However, the power vortex and soul vortex could still be improved. Therefore, whenever Murong Yu had free time, he would cultivate these two aspects. The more merged vortexes, the more terrifying his battle prowess would be. Boom! A violent wave of power fiercely spread out, sweeping in all directions. Murong Yu, who was cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes and looked over. He saw Zhao Jiqing's body flickering with a dazzling light, and waves of powerful aura were emitted from her body. Initial stage of the Tao realm. A hint of joy flashed past the depths of Murong Yu's eyes. Zhao Jiqing was actually the first to break through to the initial stage of the Tao realm. However, Murong Yu was not surprised. In Shenzhen, apart from him, Zhao Jiqing had the best aptitude. She was beautiful, her aptitude was heaven-defying, and she had great power. It was all thanks to Zhao Jiqing. Otherwise, Murong Yu wouldn't have had it easy. Next, who will be the first to break through? Murong Yu did not disturb Zhao Jiqing. Although Zhao Jiqing had broken through, she still needed to consolidate her realm. In 10 years, Zhao Jiqing had completely consolidated her realm. Although her aptitude was heaven-defying, she did not continue to cultivate. His comprehension wasn't enough. Thus, she leisurely walked towards Murong Yu. At this moment, the second person finally broke through. After seeing the person who broke through, Murong Yu and Zhao Jiqing looked at each other and smiled. Because the person who broke through was Murong Xian. This guy combined Murong Yu and Zhao Jiqing's excellent genes. His aptitude was definitely not below Zhao Jiqing's. It was just that his comprehension was not enough, so his breakthrough was a little slow. Dozens of people broke through at the same time. If word gets out, our Shenzhen will probably be targeted by everyone. Looking at the people cultivating, Zhao Jiqing slowly said, "Keep a low profile, keep a low profile." Murong Yu smiled slightly. Standing together with Zhao Jiqing, they were like a pair of immortal couples. Zhao Jiqing was very beautiful, and as her strength continued to increase, her temperament became better and better. And although Murong Yu was not a handsome guy, his temperament was very compatible with Zhao Jiqing. Therefore, when they stood together, they would only be very harmonious, and not like Beauty and the Beast. Zhao Jiqing did not say anything. She just stood quietly beside Murong Yu, enjoying this peaceful moment. However, very soon, this harmonious scene was broken by someone. Woof, woof, woof. Lord Heavenly Dog has finally broken through. Tremble, mortal. The large black dog was actually the third to break through. At this moment, he was shouting crazily. Heavenly Dog's aptitude was indisputable. However, he was actually the third to break through, which still surprised Murong Yu. At this moment, seeing this idiot waving his arms and shouting, Murong Yu could not help but be speechless. His large hand reached out and grabbed the large black dog. "Old Black, why are you shouting instead of consolidating your cultivation?" The large black dog looked at Murong Yu with disdain. "Mortal, don't you know that your Lord Heavenly Dog has never needed to consolidate his cultivation?" Murong Yu's face darkened. "Old Black, you want to spar with me?" The large black dog continued to look at Murong Yu with disdain and laughed loudly. "Mortal, you said it yourself. If I beat you up, you are not allowed to cry. True self-tear? You are really too weak." After the large black dog broke through, his self-confidence was through the roof. He actually wanted to beat Murong Yu up? Murong Yu only smiled calmly, and did not argue with the large black dog. This guy had always been so arrogant. When he was taught a lesson later, he would be obedient. Schwa. Before he finished speaking, the large black dog fiercely slapped out with his paw, and slapped towards Murong Yu in the air, wanting to slap Murong Yu to the ground with his paw. Murong Yu smiled slightly, and pressed down with a finger. Pooh! The large black dog's attack was immediately suppressed. In fact, the terrifying pressure directly suppressed the large black dog to the ground, and he could not even speak. However, Murong Yu did not overdo it. After suppressing the large black dog, he withdrew his power. The large black dog stood up as if nothing had happened. Mortal, I am still no match for you. Lord Heavenly Dog was very depressed. Brat, let Lord Heavenly Dog beat you up to vent my anger? The large black dog looked at Murong Xian, who was striding over. Come, come, see if I can suppress you. Murong Xian laughed loudly and directly moved, a punch flying towards the large black dog. The large black dog roared angrily, and turned into a black shadow, pouncing over, and engaged in a great battle with Murong Xian. Not long after, the large black dog was suppressed by Murong Xian. This made him quite speechless. Freak, your whole family is freaks. Lord Heavenly Dog is very hurt. After being repeatedly thwarted, the large black dog finally silently went to one side to draw circles. He did not continue to challenge Zhao Jiqing, because he knew that if he challenged Zhao Jiqing, the final result would still be him being suppressed. The core members of Shenzhen all broke through one after another. There was no need to mention Duanmu Qing, Yang Man, and the other elders of Shenzhen, and there was no need to mention Li Ling, Murong Xian Yi Gu Kai, and the others. All of them had broken through. Even Murong Yu's brothers, like Fan Tong, the Little Lion King, and the others whom he knew in the cultivation world, had broken through. In the end, the 50 people who had entered Hichu Luoshu had all broken through to the initial stage of Dao Tier. It could be said that in a single night, Shenzhen had made a great leap forward. From a force without any great Dao Tier elites, it had become a force with several dozen great Dao Tier elite. Their strength had undergone a tremendous change, and as long as Shenzhen continued, there would be even more great Dao Tier elite. 100? 200? Or even more. Murong Yu was confident. This was because only when there were many peak experts in Shenzhen could Shenzhen become the strongest force in the world. Sacred Lord, when will you be able to break through to the great Dao Tier? Right now, your realm is the lowest. Duanmu Qing looked at Murong Yu and said with a smile. Murong Yu glared at Duanmu Qing. Don't mention it. Do you think I want to do this? My 2 essence meridians have basically been exhausted by you guys. I can't even absorb them. Duanmu Qing didn't say anything. She just looked at Murong Yu with a smile. Of course, they all knew that although Murong Yu's realm was low, even if the 50 of them joined forces, they wouldn't be able to withstand a single slap from Murong Yu. His realm was low, but his battle prowess was something that they could only look up to. Initial Dao Tier. With your current strength, you have a foothold in the entire sacred universe. Next, do you plan to return to Shenzhen or train on the battlefield? When you return to Shenzhen, you can slowly comprehend and raise your realm to a higher level. However, the time you take to break through might be relatively slow. Experiencing a life-and-death battle on the battlefield can quickly increase your strength. However, it's extremely dangerous. Even initial Dao Tier experts can die. I'm willing to be on the battlefield. Little Lion King was the first to express his stance. Following that, Little Rock King, Fan Tong, and the others also expressed their willingness to stay on the battlefield and fight. After all, they had been adventuring outside previously. If they were to stay in Shenzhen, they wouldn't be used to it. You guys go back to Shenzhen and preside over the situation. Seeing that Zhao Jiqing, Yu Mengqing, Mu Liue, Kurlan, and Situ Xian were also ready to move, Murong Yu couldn't help but glare at them. The battlefield was constantly changing. He really didn't want the 5 women to stay on the battlefield. Little Xian, Little Lin, and the others are all staying on the battlefield. Why should I go back to Shenzhen? Yu Mengqing said with some dissatisfaction. Murong Lin gently hugged her mother. In Shenzhen, other than father, you guys have the highest prestige. If it weren't for you guys guarding Shenzhen, wouldn't those guys overturn the sky? Therefore, you guys have to guard Shenzhen. You guys don't want our nest to be destroyed, right? Yu Mengqing glared at Murong Lin and had nothing to say. Since Murong Lin had said so, she could only accept this arrangement. Thus, Morong Yu sent the 5 women back. Of course, there was also a portion of initial Dao tier experts. Morong Yu couldn't let all of them stay. Otherwise, if they were all wiped out, he would die of heartache. Many eras had passed in Hichu Luoshu. However, only 10 days had passed in the outside world. In these few days, the Sacred Cosmos Alliance didn't launch an attack. After all, what the Sacred Cosmos Alliance wanted to do now was to intimidate and delay the Sacred Cosmos, not to kill them all. And the Sacred Cosmos Alliance seemed to be intimidated. They didn't take the initiative to attack in these 10 days. However, according to intelligence, the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's army was still moving over. It seemed like they were planning something? Trying to destroy the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's army in one fell swoop and invade the Sacred Cosmos? A storm was brewing. Morong Yu floated above the army camp, looking at the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's army camp in the distance. At that moment, the token on his body flashed. It was Dong Ju, the captain, gathering all the captains. Morong Yu didn't hesitate. He stepped out and appeared in Dong Ju's tent. Chapter 2233. Recently, an ancient relic appeared in the broken universe. It might have been left behind by a sect from before the broken universe, Boundless Palace's palatial Lord Dong Ju said, as soon as Morong Yu entered the military camp. Morong Yu's heart skipped a beat as he looked at Dong Ju. Palace Lord, is this news true? Wasn't this broken universe destroyed? Why would there still be an ancient relic? A great Dao realm expert immediately asked. There are many scenarios when a universe is destroyed. One is when the entire universe is completely annihilated and turns back into endless chaos. Some universes don't have such complete destruction after death. They will leave behind a broken shell filled with death aura. Just like the broken universe we are in now. Of course, such a broken universe won't last forever. Actually, the broken universe we are in is being annihilated every moment. One day, the entire universe will completely disintegrate and be annihilated. In the end, it will turn back into endless chaos. Morong Yu nodded. He had the same doubts in his heart. However, it was clear now. To put it simply, the destruction of this shattered universe was not complete enough. Now it was still being destroyed. Perhaps one day it would be completely destroyed and there would be nothing left. Could it be an ambush from the divine universe? They purposely released this news and then waited for us to jump into the trap so that they can capture us all in one go? Morong Yu voiced out his worries. After all, if it was really an ancient relic, there would definitely be many great Dao realm experts from the sacred universe going over. If it was an ambush, they would probably be captured by the divine universe. We have the same suspicions too. Therefore, this time around, all great Dao realm experts could go. However, we can't go all out. The higher-ups have given orders. If it's really an ancient relic, then we have to fight for it with all our might. We definitely can't give it to the divine universe. Moreover, if we get it, the higher-ups don't have to hand it over. Dong Ju explained the higher-ups' intentions. So good? Morong Yu looked at Dong Ju with suspicion. He knew that the broken universe they were in now was extremely powerful before it was destroyed. Back then, this universe suppressed the neighboring universes so much that they didn't even dare to breathe. This included the divine universe and martial Dao universe. If this ancient ruin was left behind by some big sect in the broken universe, then the treasures inside would definitely be shocking. If that was the case, the Sacred Cosmos Alliance shouldn't be so generous. Could it be that there was a conspiracy? Thinking of this, Morong Yu couldn't help but smile. How could there be so many conspiracies in this world? Maybe the elders of the Alliance didn't care about the ruins. Remember, you can go, but you must leave some people in the camp. Finally, Dong Ju reminded them. This is most likely a plot by the divine cosmos. Therefore, all of you are to guard the camp and wait for my orders. Without my orders, no troops are to be deployed. After returning to Glory Sect, Murong Yu summoned Murong Xian and the rest of the upper echelons. Murong, Xian, and the others had all broken through to the initial Dao realm, and they were all eager to show off their skills. However, after hearing Murong Yu's words, they were all depressed. However, they weren't unreasonable people, and all of them agreed not to go out. In the end, Murong Yu left the camp alone and shot toward the ancient ruin. Of course, after leaving the camp, he shook his waist and became another person. If it was really the ancient ruin, there would definitely be a fierce battle. In this case, it was better to change his appearance. Otherwise, it would be easy to make enemies. In reality, it wasn't just Murong Yu who was like this. The others were the same too. Because the great Dao realm powerhouses he saw along the way were basically people he didn't recognize. Of course, it was only on the surface that he couldn't recognize them. However, their soul aura hadn't changed completely enough. If he was more serious, he could still see through them. Murong Yu, on the other hand, had undergone a complete transformation. Even his soul aura had changed completely. Even if Zhao Jiqing appeared in front of him, he wouldn't be able to recognize her. This time, he didn't bring other great Dao realm powerhouses. With his strength, he could basically suppress those great Dao realm powerhouses in Shenzhen. If even he couldn't handle it, they wouldn't be able to handle it even if he brought them along. It might just increase the number of casualties. Concealment. Murong Yu directly concealed himself. Then, he executed the army character technique, and his figure shuttled through the void. With one step, he directly crossed several galaxies. If his strength was a little stronger, crossing a galaxy with one step wouldn't be a problem at all. Moreover, it was said that Dao ancestor powerhouses could even cross from this universe to another universe with one step. It was quite terrifying. The ancient ruin wasn't very far away. Relatively speaking, it was closer to the divine universe. Therefore, this was definitely something that both sides had to fight for. Before Murong Yu got close to the ancient ruin, he already sensed waves of terrifying power fluctuations continuously transmitted over. There should be great Dao realm powerhouses fighting ahead, seemingly fighting for the ownership of the ancient ruin? As he got closer, the outside of the ancient ruin was already surrounded by all kinds of powerhouses. They were roughly divided into two camps. One was the Sacred Universe Alliance, and the other was the Divine Universe Alliance. However, looking from afar, the Divine Universe Alliance was clearly more united. They were all gathered together in one place. On the Sacred Universe Alliance's side, they were scattered in different positions. If both sides fought, the Sacred Universe Alliance's side would probably be at a disadvantage. Of course, even if it was only people from one side who entered, when the real fight began, their own people would use underhanded means. This was a pool with a radius of about 100 million miles. The bottom of the pool was unfathomable. Traces of death aura were constantly emitted. It was said that the entrance to the ancient ruin was at the bottom of the pool. The people from both sides faced each other on both sides of the pool. No one dared to go down. There were great Dao realm beasts below the pool. They were very ferocious. In fact, these beasts were nothing to the surrounding great Dao realm powerhouses. They weren't wary of these beasts, but of the other side's people. This ancient ruin has been monopolized by the Sacred Universe Alliance. People of the Divine Universe Alliance, you can go wherever you want. A Dao Lord powerhouse from the Sacred Universe Alliance stood in the sky and looked at the Divine Universe Alliance's camp with a cold and arrogant expression. What a joke! A Dao Lord powerhouse from the Divine Universe Alliance had a mocking expression. Your Sacred Universe Alliance is just an ant-like existence. How dare you fight with our Divine Universe Alliance for the ancient ruin? You really don't know what's good for you. Yes, our Sacred Universe Alliance is just an ant-like existence. But it was these ants that defeated your army. Murong Yu even fought 30 to 40 Divine Universe Alliance powerhouses alone and killed more than 10 great Dao realm powerhouses. Another Tao Lord from the Sacred Universe Alliance sneered. Hearing this, the expressions of the great Tao realm powerhouses from the Divine Universe Alliance became very ugly. This defeat was a humiliation to them. In particular, Morong Yu made them feel even more humiliated. That battle still lingered in the depths of their minds. As long as Morong Yu or they didn't die, that scene would never be remembered. I admit that Morong Yu is indeed a genius. But geniuses don't live long. Morong Yu will be killed by our Divine Universe Alliance's powerhouses one day and wash away our humiliation. A Tao Lord powerhouse from the Divine Universe Alliance growled with an ugly expression. Don't say such empty words. Hurry up and leave this place. Otherwise, we'll attack. Someone from the Sacred Universe Alliance shouted. Morong Yu hid nearby, his face full of helplessness. What was wrong with these people? Were they still great Tao realm powerhouses? They didn't attack, but they were actually arguing? What was the use of this? It was just a waste of time. How about this? Neither of us is convinced of the other. Instead of this, why don't we enter together? Who will get the ancient ruins will depend on strength. The Divine Universe Alliance's side made a rather constructive suggestion. This was a suggestion that both sides could accept. They hit it off immediately. Hence, the powerhouses from both sides unleashed their speed and quickly entered the pool. Morong Yu shook his head. This suggestion was actually useless. If they entered the pool, there would definitely be a battle. All kinds of attacks and assassinations would come endlessly. However, the pool was so big. At the beginning, they shouldn't encounter each other and start a massacre. After all, everyone was here for the treasures and not to kill. His figure flashed. Just as he was about to go down, Morong Yu heard a few miserable screams coming from ahead. At the same time, blood surged in the pool. It seemed that someone had been killed. It wasn't just the Divine Universe Alliance's side. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At the same time, figures quickly soared into the sky from the pool. They were great Tao realm powerhouses from both sides. And these people's faces were filled with shock and fear. What were they afraid of? Soon, Morong Yu knew. Behind them, many crocodile-like beasts were chasing closely. Morong Yu clearly saw that these crocodile-like beasts were terrifying. With a claw, they smashed an initial Tao realm powerhouse into mud. There were even Tao lords who were swallowed by the crocodiles. They were eaten just like that. In just a few breaths of time, dozens of great Tao realm powerhouses from both sides died under the claws of these crocodiles or were simply swallowed by them. Seeing this scene, those who had not rushed into the pool were so frightened that they took a few steps back. Roar! Those crocodile-like beasts let out a furious roar and pounced towards the people on the shore. Kill these beasts! Someone roared. Finally, the frightened great Tao realm experts all made their moves, attacking those ferocious beasts. Bang! 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 The beasts were minced into pieces by the furious crowd. However, those powerful ferocious beasts still managed to avoid the attacks and returned to the pool. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing whether to go down or not. Chapter 2234. These ferocious beasts can devour death aura to cultivate. Therefore, in the same realm, their battle strength is stronger than the cultivators of the sacred universe and the divine universe. Moreover, this pool seems to be able to strengthen the ferocious beasts, making them stronger? After observing, Morong Yu quickly came to this conclusion. Death aura was originally one of the powers transformed from the power of chaos. However, Morong Yu could devour the power of chaos, but he could not devour the death aura. Moreover, he had to use his power to form a shield around his body at all times to resist the invasion of the death aura. This was because the attack power of the death aura was very strong. Once it invaded, the death aura would corrode the body, meridians, power, and even the soul. Therefore, all the cultivators who entered the broken universe were the same. They did not allow the death aura to come into direct contact with them. If I can absorb the death aura, won't I be free here? And my battle strength can be increased? Maybe this is a chance for me to advance? Morong Yu thought. Splash, splash, splash. At this moment, cultivators began to jump into the pool one after another. However, it was different from before. Now they went down in groups. After all, there were many great virtue realm experts on both sides. As long as they worked together, those crocodile-like ferocious beasts would not be able to do anything to them, no matter how strong they were. As expected, there were constant battles happening under the pool. However, there were no more corpses of cultivators floating to the surface of the water. Only the corpses of ferocious beasts would occasionally float up. Of course, it was also possible that the corpses of cultivators were eaten by the ferocious beast. Morong Yu took a step forward and entered the pool. This time, he did not conceal himself. Anyway, he would have to attack the ferocious beasts sooner or later. When the time came, his tracks would still be exposed. The pool was unfathomably deep. Moreover, the bottom of the pool could be seen clearly. However, it was filled with dense death aura. It was like water condensed from death aura. This situation was suitable for the survival and cultivation of those crocodile-like beasts. It was because of this that those ferocious beasts in the pool would become stronger. However, this situation was not good for cultivators, because the increase in death aura meant that they had to use more power to resist the invasion of the death aura. Under this situation, the power they could unleash would be greatly weakened. Morong Yu's situation was the same. On the surface, the pool was about 100 million miles in circumference. However, as he continued to dive deeper, Morong Yu discovered that the bottom of the pool was constantly expanding. Of course, the death aura was also growing and the ferocious beasts were also becoming stronger. In the beginning, Morong Yu dove in behind everyone. In the end, he still left the main group. After all, the pool was simply too big. Although there were many cultivators on both sides, they were only the tip of the iceberg. Swish! As soon as he left the pool, he was targeted to kill the Death Aura Lord, to kill, Morong Yu, Lord. This was a low-level Dowlord level wild beast. It had a ferocious look on its face, and Morong Yu could already sense the viciousness emanating from its eyes before it even drew close. Kill! Without saying a word, Morong Yu directly launched an attack. The Chaos Edge emitted a shocking blade aura, splitting the water in the pool, and then rapidly chopped towards the fierce beast. The ferocious beast roared, its body flashing with gray light. It clawed at Morong Yu. It ignored the blade light attack at all. The scales on the ferocious beast were comparable to powerful Dao artifacts. Its defensive ability was extremely terrifying. He had even seen a Dao Lord expert unable to break through the defense of a Dao Lord ferocious beast with a punch. Swish! Morong Yu executed the soldier formula and his figure flickered, disappearing from where he stood. Although the pool suppressed his speed to a certain extent, Morong Yu's speed was still terrifying. Bang! After Morong Yu disappeared, the ferocious beast's attack annihilated the water, turning it into a vacuum. The ferocious beast was stunned at this moment, as if it had been sealed. Morong Yu's figure flashed and rushed near the ferocious beast. At the same time, he stretched out his hand. Swish! The ferocious beast disappeared on the spot. When it reappeared, it was already in the Hichu Luoshu. Originally, Morong Yu's slash was not intended to kill the ferocious beast. Instead, he used the power of chaos and the power of soul suppression to suppress the ferocious beast. Sure enough, the ferocious beast's combat strength was terrifying. However, its soul could not withstand a single blow. It was directly suppressed and taken away by Morong Yu. Roar! After entering the Hichu Luoshu, the power of chaos and the power of soul suppression could no longer suppress the ferocious beast. Therefore, the recovered ferocious beast immediately roared and rampaged in the Hichu Luoshu, wanting to rush out. Suppress! Morong Yu roared. Immediately, an extremely powerful force swept over from all directions, directly suppressing the low-level ferocious beast. With Morong Yu's current strength, he could easily suppress a low-level Tao Lord powerhouse. Not to mention that this was the Hichu Luoshu. Roar, roar, roar. Seeing Morong Yu appear in front of it, the crocodile-like ferocious beast's eyes flickered with viciousness and ferocity. It let out a heaven-shaking roar at Morong Yu. One could imagine how angry it was and how much it wanted to kill Morong Yu. With a thought, a crack appeared in the Hichu Luoshu. Immediately, a vast and incomparably pure death chi surged in endlessly, instantly enveloping the ferocious beast. At the same time, Morong Yu's divine sense covered the ferocious beast's body and pierced into its body. He began to observe and study how the ferocious beast devoured the death chi. The ferocious beast was ultimately a ferocious beast. It did not know why the death chi suddenly appeared here. It only knew how to instinctively devour the death chi to cultivate while roaring at Morong Yu. It did not know that it had become Morong Yu's research target. Its body is so tough. It's basically equivalent to a Tao artifact. Morong Yu's face revealed a look of shock. He finally understood why the Tao Lord's punch could not hurt the ferocious beast at all. The ferocious beast was simply a Tao artifact. It should be because of the death chi. These ferocious beasts devour the death chi. Not only do they increase their cultivation, but they also temper their bodies. However, it's precisely because of the death chi that they become so ferocious. Apart from that, Morong Yu also saw that the bodies and blood of these ferocious beasts had almost been assimilated by the death chi. With every breath, the death chi in the world would automatically be transformed into the power of the ferocious beasts. A portion of it was used to temper the body, while a portion was used to transform the power in the meridians. No wonder these ferocious beasts are so powerful. The death chi here is dense, and these ferocious beasts don't need to cultivate at all. They cultivate with every breath. Morong Yu was extremely shocked. If this went on for a long time, would there be a supreme existence of the Tao ancestor level among these ferocious beasts? Or would there be a Tao ancestor level existence in this pool? Thinking of this, Morong Yu broke out in a cold sweat. If a Tao ancestor appeared, then with a slap, all of them would be completely dead. There's nothing special about the ferocious beasts' bodies, and they don't have any cultivation techniques. The reason why they can cultivate is that their bodies have been assimilated by the death chi and are perfectly integrated with the death chi. Therefore, the denser the aura of death, the stronger their combat power. Morong Yu continued to think in his heart, if my body is perfectly integrated with the death chi, wouldn't my combat strength increase again? Moreover, I might be able to use the death chi to improve my cultivation. However, if I can't continue to control my body after being assimilated, I'll become like these ferocious beasts. I'll only know how to kill and be ferocious. Morong Yu was a little restless, but he was also a little hesitant. I have a chaos celestial body, the strongest physique born from the endless chaos. This death chi physique is far inferior to a chaos celestial body. In theory, it can be said that my physique can control the death chi and even temporarily transform my physique into a death chi physique. I'll give it a try. If it doesn't work, I'll end it immediately. Morong Yu had a premonition that the death chi might be an opportunity for him to advance. Therefore, he would not give up without giving it a try. Bang! Morong Yu killed the ferocious beast with a punch. He sat cross-legged on the spot and allowed the death chi to envelop him. At the same time, he stopped resisting the death chi and let it invade his body. The death chi was much more advanced than Morong Yu's. Morong Yu only had to let go of his resistance to the death chi, and the death chi quickly invaded his body. In an instant, the surface layer of Morong Yu's body had been assimilated by the death chi. It's indeed stronger than before, Murong Yu said in a deep voice as he felt the assimilated body. However, at this moment, a trace of bloodthirsty and cruel thoughts began to emerge from the depths of his soul. He wanted to kill ferocious beasts and kill everything. What a terrifying death chi! Murong Yu was shocked, but he maintained a clear mind. However, as the death chi invaded more and more, Murong Yu's bloodthirsty and cruel thoughts became more and more intense. He even felt that he could no longer control it. I have a chaos celestial body, the strongest physique in the world. I'm the one who assimilates the death chi, not the other way around. I'm the one who controls the death chi, not the other way around. Chaos celestial body, suppress it. After half a day, Murong Yu felt that he was about to lose control and be completely invaded by the death chi. Therefore, he roared. He used the power of his physique to suppress the death chi. However, it seemed to be too late. More and more death chi continued to invade his body. Not only did it invade his body, but it also began to invade his strength and soul. Once he was completely invaded, Murong Yu's last shred of consciousness would disappear. At that time, he would become a ferocious beast that only knew how to kill. Chapter 2235. You want to change my constitution? That's impossible. Suppress it all. Murong Yu roared in his heart and began to control the Hichu Luoshu to close it. At the same time, he was constantly suppressing the parts of his body and power that had been assimilated. However, no matter how hard Murong Yu tried to suppress it, he still couldn't suppress the invasion of the death aura. On the contrary, he watched as more and more parts of his body were invaded. 1/4, 1/3, 1/2. Murong Yu was terrified. If he was really assimilated like this, he would definitely end up in a miserable state. Life force, purify. Murong Yu roared in his heart and controlled the tree of life to frantically cleanse the assimilated body and power. It was effective. Wherever the life force passed, a part of the assimilated body and power was purified. Although it couldn't be completely purified, the effect was not bad. Therefore, Murong Yu began to frantically use the life force to cleanse the assimilated body. However, the purification effect still couldn't compare to the speed of assimilation. In the end, 4/5 of Murong Yu's power and body had been assimilated. Intense bloodlust and cruelty constantly filled the depths of Murong Yu's soul. At this moment, he only wanted to kill any living thing, kill everything. My body, my constitution is finished just like that? Murong Yu's main soul shot out of his body and transformed into an illusory Murong Yu with an extremely ugly expression. At this moment, his body was about to be completely assimilated. Once it was completely assimilated, Murong Yu would completely lose the chaotic celestial body. Without the chaotic celestial body, it was impossible for him to become a chaos controller. In other words, no matter how great his achievements were in this life, he would never be able to become a chaos controller. At this moment, Murong Yu felt that he had been too reckless. However, he didn't regret it too much. After all, if he had to do it all over again, he would still try to assimilate his body. On the path of cultivation, how could there be great achievements without taking risks? His great achievements today, wasn't it because he constantly took risks and experienced life and death situations? I won't give up until the last moment. Murong Yu made up his mind and continued to fight against the death chi. However, there was nothing he could do. 99%, even the soul had been assimilated. Of course, this was excluding the main soul. Murong Yu was still struggling. He would never give up. 1. They were all about to be assimilated. However, at this moment, an extremely powerful might of the world descended from the endless chaos. Just how powerful and terrifying was this heavenly might? Downlords like Ancestor Hun, you were like tiny ants before the might of the heavens and the earth, and they couldn't withstand a single blow. This was because this was a heavenly might that came howling from the endless primal chaos. ruling over everything, controlling all living things, standing above everyone else. Before Murong Yu could even react, this heaven's might had already slammed into his body. In an instant, Murong Yu clearly noticed that his body seemed as if it had been electrocuted, and it started to tremble violently. At the same time, his entire body had been assimilated by the death chi. It was even to the extent that his main soul was affected. From this moment onward, Murong Yu had completely transformed into a death chi physique, just like those crocodiles and ferocious beasts. What's going on? Murong Yu felt despair when he noticed this scene. Even his main soul is unable to escape now? Have I really become a walking corpse that only knows how to kill? A feeling of despair enveloped Murong Yu. Wait, it doesn't seem to be like that? A short while later, Murong Yu suddenly came to an understanding. Even though his physique had been completely assimilated, however, the bloodthirsty and cruel thoughts in the depths of his soul weren't there anymore. He'd completely recovered his clarity and was exactly the same as before. What's going on? Murong Yu was stunned by this sudden change. He released Hichu Luoshu again, and immediately, a large amount of death chi surged in like a surging river. At this moment, looking at the death chi, Murong Yu felt like a fish that had seen water. He was the fish, and the death chi was the water. He could freely swim around in places filled with death chi, and the death chi could no longer harm him. He could even devour it to strengthen himself. It's because of that heavenly might and that will. That heavenly might and will that came from the depths of the endless chaos. Could it be that the endless chaos doesn't want me to fall? Murong Yu couldn't help but feel a little smug when he realized this. However, he knew that this was definitely not the case. Throughout history, chaotic celestial bodies had appeared countless times. Hadn't those people all fallen? Perhaps Murong Yu was even inferior to those chaotic celestial bodies before him. Then, why would the endless chaos especially favor him? Perhaps the noble chaos wouldn't allow such low-level death chi to seize the chaotic celestial body? Perhaps it felt that this was an insult to it? So it retaliated? Refined the death chi constitution in one fell swoop? This idea suddenly came to Murong Yu's mind. At this moment, Murong Yu could completely control the death chi constitution. Strictly speaking, the chaotic celestial body should also have the function of the death chi constitution, and could even transform into one in the blink of an eye. Just like those crocodile beasts, it could freely devour the death chi of the shattered universe. However, Murong Yu still couldn't figure out what was going on with the heavenly might and will that came from the depths of the endless chaos. It had never appeared before. Perhaps, as Murong Yu thought, the chaos will could cause the chaotic celestial body to fall. However, it definitely wouldn't allow the chaotic celestial body to be assimilated and possessed by a low-level constitution. If that's the case, then can't I use this chaos will to take risks? This crazy idea suddenly came to Murong Yu's mind. However, he quickly extinguished this idea. Whether or not the chaos will existed was still a question. If it didn't take action, wouldn't he be in for a tragedy? He drove these unrealistic thoughts out of his mind. Then, Murong Yu checked his current physical body. Now, Murong Yu could devour the death chi, and his constitution was the same as that of the crocodile beast. The death chi of the shattered universe no longer pressured him. An incomparably huge divine thought escaped and instantly spread to the size of several star fields, much larger than the range of his peak. This was the power of borrowing the death chi, just like the crocodile beasts, whose strength became stronger in the pool. The principle was the same. I feel that I can improve my realm. Whether it's the physical body, cultivation, or even the soul. Murong Yu was surprised to find that his soul could devour the death chi to cultivate. This was the first time such a situation had occurred. In the past, his soul could only devour the power of the soul. It was precisely because of these limitations that his realm improvement was extremely slow. If his soul could devour the heaven and earth essence chi to improve like his cultivation, the speed of his advancement would be at least several times faster. Immediately, he began to cultivate. Although his combat power was terrifying, it was still not strong enough. Of course, the stronger he was, the better. Otherwise, he would die if he was not careful. Moreover, Morong Yu had already seen the experts of the sacred universe and divine universe fighting the crocodile beasts in the pool. For a period of time, they could not go deep into the pool. With a teleportation, he left the pool directly. Completely letting go of Hichu Luoshu, Morong Yu raised his death chi physique to the extreme. Suddenly, the death chi from all directions swept over like a storm and quickly rushed into Morong Yu's body, and he devoured it in large quantities. Rumble with Morong Yu's physical body as the center, a huge whirlpool quickly formed. And this whirlpool grew bigger and bigger. Moreover, as the death chi continued to surge over, not long after, the entire whirlpool had turned dark. From afar, Morong Yu, who was deep in the whirlpool, could no longer be seen. Even divine thought could not extend in. Otherwise, if he was discovered, Morong Yu would inevitably be targeted and killed in a sneak attack. Awesome! Morong Yu secretly exclaimed in his heart. He had never experienced his physical body, strength, and soul devouring the same kind of energy at the same time, and all of them were rapidly improving his realm. How could Morong Yu not be secretly happy when he saw his soul, cultivation, and physical body improving at a speed that was visible to the naked eye? However, Morong Yu's combat power was too terrifying. The stronger one's combat power was, the more energy needed to break through. 3 days passed in a row. The death chi that Morong Yu devoured could even help a Downlord to improve by a small realm. However, it was still far from Morong Yu's breakthrough. At most, it was only 1%. 1% in 3 days. In other words, Morong Yu would need to devour for 300 days before the energy would be enough for him to break through his current realm and reach level 2 of the True Self realm. 300 days. It's almost a year. It's still too slow. Morong Yu slowly opened his eyes and said with some dissatisfaction. If his words were heard by other cultivators, he would probably be beaten to death by others. 300 days to improve by a small realm, and he was complaining that it was too slow? One had to know that for Dao realm experts, even if it took 300 eras to improve by a small realm, they would be wild with joy. Swoosh! Morong Yu stopped devouring the death chi. Instead, he soared into the sky, used the army formula, and quickly left. At this moment, with the support of the death chi, his speed had increased by 10 times. He had already surpassed high-level Dao Lords and was on par with ordinary Dao Lords. Therefore, his speed was quite terrifying. The death chi in this world is 5 times more than ordinary death chi. If I cultivate here, my breakthrough time can be increased by 5 times. However, it's still too slow. Morong Yu stopped for a while in a place with relatively dense death chi, but he soon left. 8 times, 10 times, 50 times. In the end, Morong Yu found a place with 50 times more death chi. Here, even an initial Dao realm expert would be instantly killed by the death chi. Even if they didn't die, they would become a walking corpse that only knew how to kill. However, to Morong Yu, this was a treasured place because if he cultivated here, his breakthrough time would be reduced by 50 times. Originally, he would need 300 days, but now, he only needed 6 days. Although it's still too slow to break through a small realm in 6 days, it's still barely enough. However, it's barely enough. Morong Yu decided to stay here and cultivate. He could sense that he could still find a place with even denser death chi. However, the time spent on the road would not be just 6 days. After breaking through, he still had to go back and snatch the ancient ruins. Chapter 2236. After becoming the Death Chi physique, Morong Yu had perfectly integrated with the endless Death Chi. Now, for others, the terrifying death energy was fatal to them, causing irreversible damage. However, to Morong Yu, the death chi was a great supplement. With a thought, the deathly aura gushed into Morong Yu's body like a river. In the end, Morong Yu quickly refined the deathly aura and condensed it into his own power. It fused with his original power and rapidly increased his strength and battle prowess. His breakthrough was unstoppable. His strength increased at a speed visible to the naked eye every moment. Yes, it's 50 times faster than before. 6 days, I can break through in 6 days. Come on, I'm going to break through. Morong Yu roared again and again, wholeheartedly breaking through. It was only here that Morong Yu dared to break through so wildly and roared again and again. Only he dared to do so. Otherwise, in the holy universe, unless it was some dangerous place, how could he dare to do so? In fact, it was not just him. Even a Tao ancestor-level powerhouse would not dare to break through in public. One must know that after breaking through, one's strength would increase by several times. However, when breaking through, one would be at their weakest and most vulnerable. This was because at that time, one would be fully focused on breaking through and would not be able to divert one's attention to do other things. Moreover, at this time, one's defense would be at its weakest. If one was ambushed by someone, not to mention a powerhouse of the same level, even a much weaker cultivator could easily consign one to eternal damnation. This was because it was the easiest to go berserk when breaking through. What was going berserk? When breaking through, if one lost control of the power in one's body, then the sudden increase in power would tear one's soul to shreds. Therefore, many people had to find a quiet place to cultivate before they dared to break through. Otherwise, if his enemy came, he would definitely die. In fact, even a real ant would cause a powerhouse at the critical moment of breaking through to go berserk. In this broken universe, there was no one at all. Moreover, Morong Yu's breakthrough was not irreversible. As long as he was willing, he could stop breaking through at any time. Even if someone disturbed him, he would not go berserk. That was why he was so arrogant. While Morong Yu was raising his cultivation base, the battle in the pool was still ongoing. Countless ferocious beasts surged out from the bottom of the pool. However, although these ferocious beasts were powerful, they were filled with bloodlust and cruelty. But after all, it didn't have any intelligence. Therefore, he was no match for many cultivators. The people from the sacred universe and the god universe formed two teams like an army. These were all great Tao realm experts. Even the weakest of them was at the initial Tao realm. His individual strength was nothing. However, if they were united as one, their battle prowess would be terrifying. Even though the ferocious beasts came in groups, they were still easily killed. However, this was only the beginning. As they dived deeper, not only did the number of ferocious beasts increase, but the most important thing was that the strength of the ferocious beasts also increased. In the beginning, most of them were initial Tao level beasts. Now, however, most of the beasts that had appeared were at the Tao Lord level. Moreover, they had only reached the middle of the pool and had yet to reach the bottom. The entrance to the ancient ruins was at the bottom of the lake. Who was the one who spread the news? Was there really an ancient ruin below? Who had such terrifying strength to reach the bottom of the lake? Be careful, block the attacks of the ferocious beasts. On the sacred universe's side, thousands of great Tao realm experts formed a circle, all of them looking ahead nervously. Not far ahead of them, tens of thousands of alligator ferocious beasts let out earth-shaking roars and charged over. Tens of thousands of Tao Lord level ferocious beasts. Just the ferocious aura they emitted was enough to shake heaven and earth. Even the Tao Lord experts among the cultivators trembled under this ferocious aura. Some of the weaker initial Tao experts were even shocked to the point that their souls were about to scatter. Their combat strength rapidly declined. Their hearts were already filled with fear. How could they still have any combat strength? This was like the morale of a war. When the morale fell to the bottom, they basically had no combat strength to speak of. Then, what awaited them was only slaughter. Damn it, tens of thousands of Dao Lord experts. Can we really fight against them? An initial Dao expert revealed a look of shock. Don't be afraid. Although there are many ferocious beasts, they won't be united. We just need to split them up and break them down. Although there are many of them, they're definitely no match for us. Moreover, the stronger the ferocious beasts here, the more it proves that there's a shocking treasure below the lake. There must be an ancient ruin below, an expert from the sacred universe's side said in a deep voice. Ancient ruin. When they heard these words, everyone's expression changed. At that moment, the ferocious beasts finally charged over. Terrifying power annihilated the lake water and crazily attacked the cultivators. 2/3 of you block their power. The remaining 1/3 listen to my command. Blast your strongest power at the ferocious beasts in the southeast corner and kill them. An expert was commanding the battle. Instantly, waves of power rose from the crowd, finally forming a barrier that firmly protected everyone. On the other side, the remaining 1/3 of the people's power converged into a torrent in the void. It passed through the attacks of the ferocious beasts and directly blasted into the countless ferocious beasts. Boom! Boom! Almost at the same time, the power of both sides blasted down. Rumble, when everyone was united, the power was indeed powerful. The power of tens of thousands of Dao Lord-level ferocious beasts bombarded the barrier, but the impact only caused the barrier to tremble violently. They were unable to break through. A mere few thousand cultivators of varying strength were able to block the attacks of so many ferocious beasts. As expected, there was strength in numbers. However, the ferocious beasts weren't so lucky. No matter how strong they couldn't withstand the attacks of so many experts at all. In an instant, hundreds of Dao Lord-level ferocious beasts were killed. Seeing this, the cultivators all felt relieved. They were no longer afraid. No matter how many ferocious beasts there were, as long as the cultivators focused their attention, the ferocious beasts wouldn't be able to resist at all. Thus, they followed this strategy and began to attack the ferocious beasts. A large number of ferocious beasts were killed. The more ferocious beasts died, the less damage the cultivators had to endure. The less damage there was, the more powerful their counterattack would be. Of course, the cultivators weren't completely unharmed. After all, there were tens of thousands of Dao Lord-level ferocious beasts. Under repeated attacks, they were unable to break through the barrier. However, there were still some weaker initial Dao experts who were killed by the shockwaves. It wasn't just the sacred universe. The divine universe was in a similar situation. Ferocious beasts and cultivators were constantly dying. Fresh blood was about to dye the pool red. However, no matter how many ferocious beasts there were, it couldn't stop everyone's determination to enter the ancient ruins. Everyone continued to dive down. Moreover, more and more cultivators rushed over after receiving the news. Now, it wasn't just Dao realm experts. Even selfless realm cultivators had appeared in the pool. If this continued, no matter how powerful and numerous the crocodile beasts were, they definitely wouldn't be able to resist the combined attacks of the sacred and divine universes. Of course, after clearing out the ferocious beasts, it was time for the sacred and divine universes to fight. 6 days later, Rumble, an aura that was at least 100 times stronger than before, erupted from Murong Yu's body. It instantly swept in all directions, causing the surrounding death aura to scatter and collapse. Second level of the true self realm. Murong Yu let out a hearty laugh and stood up. He finally broke through. Not long ago, he had broken through to the true self realm, and now he had broken through another minor realm. He really didn't come to the wrong place. If there really were ancient ruins at the bottom of the pool, he might be able to continue breaking through. My combat strength has increased by at least 100 times. Yes, it's considered a normal breakthrough. Unfortunately, there's still a huge gap between me and a Dao Lord. Without a Tao Lord, even high-level Tao Lords are difficult to kill. However, it's extremely difficult for them to kill me. If I break through a few more minor realms, killing peak Tao Lords will be as easy as slaughtering dogs. Murong Yu clenched his fists, full of confidence. And the shattered universe is my paradise. Murong Yu's face glowed. The shattered universe was surrounded by death aura. It was a dangerous place for others, but it was a paradise for him. However, it's a pity. My combat strength has increased by 100 times. However, the strength required to break through is also 100 times more than before. If I continue to cultivate here, there's basically no hope for me to break through. I can only find a place where the death aura is denser. At least 1,000 times more death aura will have some effect. If I want to have a significant effect, I'll need at least 10,000 times or even more. When he thought of this, Murong Yu felt a slight headache. Where could he find 10,000 times more death aura? If it wasn't so heaven-defying, I'm afraid I would have broken through to the Tao Ancestor realm long ago, right? Murong Yu thought in his heart, then laughed self-deprecatingly. If it wasn't for this, he wouldn't be qualified at all right? Whether he could even enter the cultivation world to cultivate was still a question. He would probably be ashes to ashes and dust to dust by now. Oh? The sacred universe and the divine universe are fighting over the entrance to the primordial ruins? They've already swept through the pool? Murong Yu frowned slightly, then took a step forward and disappeared on the spot. Although he had already left the pool and was cultivating far away. He had already left a power clone in the pool to pay attention to this place at all times. After 6 days of fighting, the divine universe and the sacred universe left behind a large number of experts' corpses and finally reached the bottom of the pool. Of course, it wasn't a complete sweep as Murong Yu said. They only repelled a portion of the ferocious beast's attacks and succeeded to the end. However, the two sides were now in a confrontation again, fighting over the entrance to the primordial ruins. Chapter 2237. In fact, when Murong Yu returned to the bottom of the pool, the door to the ancient ruins hadn't been opened yet. However, Murong Yu still saw an ancient door appear in his line of sight. The door wasn't big and was about the same size as the main door. However, it looked very simple and unadorned. Waves of vicissitudes of life and an ancient aura constantly seeped out from behind the door. This should be a cultivator's cave abode, and not the ruins of a faction. Hidden in the void, Murong Yu sized up the door to the ancient ruins. After transforming into a deathly aura physique, and breaking through in the shattered universe, Murong Yu was even more compatible with the deathly aura here. In addition to his powerful concealment ability, even if he stood beside a Tao Master now, they wouldn't be able to discover Murong Yu. Such ability filled Murong Yu with confidence that he would be able to obtain the treasures in the ancient ruins in the end. However, it wasn't that easy to enter the ancient ruins. Outside the door, layers of array formations and restrictions enveloped it. Regardless of whether it was the experts from the sacred universe or the divine universe, they didn't dare to get too close. This was because there weren't any alligator beasts nearby. Why didn't they appear here? It was because they knew how terrifying the array formations and restrictions here were. The cultivators from the sacred universe and the divine universe all knew this. Therefore, they were only in a standoff now and didn't fight. However, from the looks of it, it seemed like they were about to explode. After all, everyone wanted to obtain the treasures themselves. Even if they couldn't obtain it, they wouldn't let the other side get it either. Everyone, what's the meaning of this? There's indeed an ancient ruin here. However, only one of us is qualified to enter. Now, no one is willing to submit to the other. A great Tao realm expert from the divine universe suddenly said, using the great sage technique. A great Tao realm expert from the sacred universe immediately said, "It's very simple. Just go back to where you came from. This ancient ruin belongs to our sacred universe." You guys are really arrogant. Upon hearing this, the people from the divine universe were displeased. Since no one is willing to submit to the other, let's draw a line. Send out your strongest expert to duel with the strongest expert from the divine universe. Whoever wins will have the right to develop the ancient ruins. The loser can turn around and leave. How about that? A great Tao realm expert from the divine universe put forward a more practical suggestion. A duel between the strongest? How about this? Let's each send 5 great beings to fight. 5 rounds, 3 wins. What do you think? All right. Thus, both sides began to study the candidates for the battle. Murong-yu, who was hiding in the dark, did not care about this at all. This was the best method, otherwise both sides would have to fight. In the war, which side would obtain the right to develop the ancient ruins? These were all unknowns. Moreover, once the war broke out, a large number of experts from both sides would definitely fall, even though the two sides were mortal enemies. However, no one seemed to want to die here. After all, their goal was the primordial ruins. Of course, the loser of the duel would turn around and leave. That wasn't very likely. They might come back immediately after leaving and then backstab him. However, both sides were well aware of the situation. They had no choice but to fight. Otherwise, how long would this standoff last? Murong-yu was not interested at all. At this moment, he had already hidden himself and entered the endless formations and restrictions, approaching the door of the primordial ruins. No matter where he was, as long as Murong-yu was still the chaotic celestial body, the formations and restrictions would have no effect on him. He could enter and exit the formations and restrictions freely. The door was tightly shut. After Murong-yu observed closely, he realized that he could not sneak in. The door was tightly shut, and he could not enter through the gap at all. At this moment, the duel between the divine universe and the divine universe had already begun. All of them were Tao masters. Murong-yu even saw the Wanliang Palace's palace master, Dongju, in the crowd. However, he was not one of those people, because with his strength, he was not qualified at all. Almost all of them were peak Tao lords who were qualified to represent them in battle. There were many Tao masters in the crowd. If the victor was decided and the formations and restrictions were destroyed, then they would be able to enter directly. With Murong-yu's current strength, he would be overestimating himself if he tried to snatch food from the tiger's mouth. Moreover, he did not know whether the divine universe or the divine universe would win in the end. Gritting his teeth, Murong-yu reached out and pushed the door open. Even if he risked being discovered, Murong-yu would go all out. If he could open the door, then he could enter the primordial ruins. By the time the others broke the formations and restrictions and entered the primordial ruins, he might have obtained enough treasures and left. It did not budge at all. To Murong-yu's disappointment, the door seemed to be very heavy, and he could not push it open at all. Not to mention pushing it open, the door did not even budge. There was no other way. He could only wait for them to decide the victor. With their strength, they might be able to open the door. Thus, Murong-yu left the door of the primordial ruins and watched from the side. At this moment, the divine universe had already lost 2 rounds in a row. He did not know if it was because the experts who came this time were not strong enough, or if the people of the divine universe were really stronger than the divine universe. The divine universe had lost 2 rounds in a row. However, the divine universe was not as strong as the sacred universe in terms of overall strength or individual combat power. Because of this, the Sacred Universe Alliance had stalled the people of the divine universe in the shattered universe and let them fight with the martial universe. Otherwise, if both sides were equal in strength, the sacred universe would have attacked and destroyed the divine universe long ago. Murong-yu discovered that even if both sides were at the same level, the combat power of the sacred universe cultivators was not as strong as that of the divine universe. Plus, they had already lost 2 rounds in a row. Murong-yu knew that the sacred universe might be in for a tragedy this time. Sure enough, the third round did not change much. The cultivators of the sacred universe were defeated cleanly. Haha, friends of the sacred universe, don't go back on your word. Hurry up and go back to where you came from. Seeing that their side had won, the people of divine universe laughed out loud, their faces full of contempt. Let's go! A great being from the sacred universe shouted coldly, turning around to leave. Their skills were not as good as theirs. Why would they stay and be humiliated? However, they were not willing to give up. We're leaving just like that? We're leaving the ancient ruins to them? We can swarm them and fight them to the death. As they left, someone roared angrily in a low voice. We can't go back on our word. Let's leave first. Those powerful Tao Lords spoke in low voices and left the pool. Thus, in a few breaths' time, only the cultivators of the divine universe were left at the bottom of the pool. Divide a portion of the guards and prevent the sacred universe cultivators from coming back to cause trouble. The rest of you, destroy these formations and restrictions, an expert of the divine universe roared. Thus, everyone started to shatter. Murong Yu left the entrance of the ancient ruins far away. He knew the power of these formations and restrictions. He didn't want to be implicated. Boom! Over 10,000 Tao realm experts joined forces and blasted out their strongest attacks at the same time. They blasted fiercely at the formations and restrictions in front of the entrance of the ancient ruins. How terrifying was the combined attack of over 10,000 Tao realm experts! It could easily raze several star regions to the ground. This earth-shattering power blasted the formations and restrictions, instantly triggering the terrifying power of these formations and restrictions. Rumble! At this moment, Murong Yu only saw waves of dazzling light erupting from the formations. No matter how powerful his battle prowess was, at this moment, his vision was blocked by the light and he couldn't see anything. At the same time, an extremely strong aura of death instantly swept over from the front. Murong Yu was greatly shocked. He was already quite a distance away from the ancient ruins. However, he was still enveloped by the aura of death. Without hesitation, Murong Yu charged into the Hichu Luoshu and left the pool with a teleportation. He didn't want to hesitate. If he couldn't enter the Hichu Luoshu, he would die. Now, he only had one last chance to revive. Swoosh! Once Murong Yu was far away from the pool, he immediately rushed out. At the same time, he saw a dazzling light shoot into the sky. A dangerous aura swept over from the bottom of the pool like raging waves. The people of the divine universe are finished. Murong Yu fell silent. His battle prowess was comparable to that of a high-level Tao Lord. Even he felt a strong sense of death. If he hadn't run fast enough, he would have been annihilated long ago. In other words, initial Tao Lords and Tao Lords below the level of Tao Lord wouldn't be able to resist the terrifying power of the formations at all. As for Tao Lords, they might be able to resist it, right? Perhaps with their protection, not many people from the divine universe would die this time. However, the divine universe would definitely suffer heavy losses this time. Damn it, what a terrifying aura! It suppressed my soul just now, and it almost shattered my soul. Fortunately, we've already left the pool. Otherwise, I might have died. Now, those people from the divine universe are finished, right? Someone from the sacred universe gloated. It'd be best if they died. It'd be best if they perished together with the formations. That way, we'd be able to reap the benefit. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At the same time, battered and exhausted figures constantly shot up from the bottom of the pool. They were all experts from the divine universe. However, they were in an extremely sorry state. Moreover, their numbers were drastically reduced. Originally, they had more than 100,000 people below. Even the great Tao realm experts had as many as 20,000 to 30,000. However, only a few thousand had come out now. In other words, that attack just now had almost wiped out all of them. Even so, each and every one of them was injured. In particular, those experts below the level of Downlord were heavily injured. If it wasn't for the Downlord experts protecting them, they would have died long ago. Kill! Kill them all! Suddenly, someone from the sacred universe roared. Thus, everyone pounced forward to kill him. Chapter 2238. When they saw this scene, those divine universe experts who were originally in a sorry state were instantly shocked. What's wrong with all of you? You didn't keep your word. Someone from the divine universe roared furiously, but he didn't hesitate to start defending himself. How did we not keep our word? We lost 3 out of 5 rounds, so we left. But we're not in the ancient ruins now. Moreover, we're on opposing sides, so isn't it normal to kill all of you? All of you, use your strongest attacks and try to wipe them out. A great Tao realm expert from the sacred universe roared furiously. You bastards! Even if we die, we'll drag all of you down with us. The divine universe cultivators were extremely furious. They were already heavily injured by the formation, and now they were being attacked by over 100,000 sacred universe cultivators. This caused them to be even more furious. Rumble as they cursed furiously, both sides started fighting fiercely. In the end, they were at a disadvantage, and they even suffered a sneak attack. After a round of attacks, over 1,000 corpses were left on the divine universe's side. All of them were great Tao realm experts. There were even a few supreme existences at the Downlord level. They were already injured, and they had to take care of the injured. Most importantly, these people from the sacred universe were extremely sinister. They gathered many experts of the same realm or even higher to join forces and attack. Therefore, even though the Downlords of the divine universe were extremely strong, they couldn't resist at all. In an instant, several Downlord-level experts died. Downlords were the peak combat strength in the universe. Every single one of them was an extremely precious treasure, and they were the type that one would have less if they died. Several Downlords had died in an instant. Even to the divine universe, this was a rather heavy price to pay. Moreover, the divine universe might even be wiped out today. As they looked at their side that was surrounded, everyone from the divine universe knew that they couldn't break out of the encirclement. Kill! I've already sent out a distress signal. As long as we hold on for a while, the experts of our divine universe will come endlessly and kill these ants from the sacred universe. A Downlord from the divine universe roared loudly. Haha, are you talking about those transmission talismans you sent out? I'm really sorry, but we've already set up an inescapable net here. Even the transmission talismans can't be sent out. All of you are bound to be annihilated today. A Downlord from the divine universe roared with laughter. Hearing this, the hearts of divine universe's people sank. He knew that he might not be able to escape today. However, this only intensified their bloodlust and made them fight against the sacred cosmos. As a result, such a scene was created. The people of the divine universe were unable to withstand the bombardment and fell one after another. But under their desperate efforts, the divine universe suffered a lot of damage. As the saying goes, a cornered dog will jump over a wall. When fighting with someone who is risking his life, the slightest bit of carelessness will result in his death. Soul Storm. At this moment, Murong Yu had also joined the battle. Although the sacred universe's attack was a little despicable and shameless, but the other party was a mortal enemy, an invader. As for the invaders, as long as they could annihilate them, any method was acceptable. It had to be said that soul attacks were the most terrifying attack. Because of the terrifying destructive power, and because it was silent, it was impossible to guard against. Puff, puff, puff. As soon as Murong Yu attacked, the souls of over 1,000 heavily injured Downlords were instantly annihilated. They didn't have time to react at all. They didn't even have time to react. On the other hand, although the souls of those Downlords were also attacked, the difference in strength between Murong Yu and them was too great. Soul attacks couldn't severely injure their souls. However, it was enough to disturb them. Kill them? That was the problem of the sacred universe's Tao Lords. It's the soul race. Be careful and defend your souls. Seeing that the experts on their side had suddenly fallen, someone from the divine universe immediately shouted. Thus, everyone withdrew a portion of their power to protect their souls. However, in this way their attacks and defenses were weakened, and it became more and more difficult to resist. Soul Storm. 10,000 layers of soul waves. Murong Yu didn't reveal himself. Instead, he concealed himself and moved back and forth in the void. At the same time, he constantly unleashed soul attacks towards the divine universe's side. There was still a fierce battle to come, and Murong Yu wasn't willing to show himself. That would be disadvantageous to him. However, his attacks also played a significant role. Cultivators below the Tao Lord level had their souls annihilated by him. Because of his soul attacks, the divine universe's side was forced to retreat, and there were people dying at every moment. The more people died, the weaker their defenses became. In the end, only a few dozen Tao Lord level experts were left stubbornly resisting. However, all of them were heavily injured. Under the attacks of the sacred universe, their deaths were inevitable. As expected, in the end, the divine universe's experts were all killed. However, after killing them, the sacred universe's side also suffered heavy losses. A few Tao Lord level experts were killed. As for Tao Lord and initial Tao experts, even more of them died. However, compared to the complete annihilation of the enemy, the sacred universe still achieved a huge victory in this battle. Victory in war was won by piling up corpses. It wasn't just the corpses of the enemy, but also the corpses of their own side. It was a very normal thing. After cleaning up the battlefield, the sacred universe's people once again carefully went down to the ancient ruins below. The ancient ruins were safe and sound, and even the formations and restrictions in front were exactly the same as before. However, the sacred universe's cultivators didn't dare to attack the formations and restrictions now. Otherwise, they would end up like the divine universe's people. In the end, they were all annihilated. These formations and restrictions are so terrifying. It might be the cave abode of some almighty from before the shattered universe. There might be an inheritance or Tao ancestor level Tao artifact inside. We can't enter here, so we have to report this to the higher-up. No one had any objections because they really couldn't enter the ancient ruins. Therefore, not long after, the Grand Marshal of the Sacred Universe's army and the Deacon of the Alliance personally arrived. To become a Deacon of the Alliance, in addition to being the controller of a large force, one had to possess absolute strength. It was said that this Deacon had the strength of a level 9 Tao Lord. His combat strength was terrifying. At this time, the Divine Universe's side also knew that they were all annihilated. Therefore, even more experts surged over with murderous intent, intending to annihilate the Sacred Universe's cultivators. However, a large number of experts from both sides had already gathered together, but they didn't dare to start a war. Therefore, both sides confronted each other again. In fact, both sides had about the same number of troops and combat strength in the shattered universe. It was precisely because of this that both sides were more careful in their confrontation. If one side had the absolute strength to crush the other side, who would waste time confronting the other side? They would just crush the other side directly. In fact, this situation was quite unfavorable for the sacred universe. The divine universe's troops that came to the shattered universe were less than 1% of their total forces. However, at least 10% of the sacred universe's troops were here. Although there was only one deacon in charge of the overall situation, there were many experts under the deacon. However, this was only equal to the other side. In other words, the sacred universe had to use 10 times the forces of the other side to be able to contend with the divine universe. Moreover, the divine universe had their own concerns. Their main forces were engaged in a war with the martial universe. If they completely angered the sacred universe and the sacred universe came out in full force, their troops would be instantly crushed. Of course, the sacred universe wouldn't do that. It was easy to crush these troops, but if the divine universe came out in full force, it would be the sacred universe that would be crushed. Therefore, a confrontation was what they wanted to see. The highest existences of the sacred universe and the divine universe stood on opposite sides of the pool. If I'm not wrong, these primordial ruins are definitely the abode of some Tao ancestor in the shattered universe. It's absolutely impossible for us to open the primordial ruins with our strength. We have to work together. A young man from the Sacred Universe looked at the Deacon of the Sacred Universe Alliance and spoke indifferently. He was the Grand Marshal of the Divine Universe, Zhao Yang. He was a 9th-rank Tao Lord, and his combat strength was rather terrifying. Work together? How? We're sworn enemies. Even if we open the door to the primordial ruins, we'll still have to fight in the end. The Grand Marshal of the Sacred Universe Alliance, Deacon Han Qi, spoke indifferently. Working together with Zhao Yang was like asking a tiger for its skin, and they might be completely devoured in the end. Zhao Yang seemed to be prepared. It's very simple. We just have to work together to open the door to the primordial ruins. As for the treasures inside, it'll depend on our own abilities. As the saying goes, only the virtuous can obtain the treasures. Han Qi laughed coldly. There's no need for that. The experts of our Sacred Universe Alliance will be here soon. I advise you to hurry back. Otherwise, you won't be able to return and will die in a foreign land. Zhao Yang sneered. Grand Marshal of the Sacred Universe Alliance, don't you know that the primordial ruins are very tight? By the time the experts of your Sacred Universe Alliance arrive, the primordial ruins will probably have been destroyed. At that time, you won't be able to obtain anything. Han Qi's face instantly turned gloomy. He knew that Zhao Yang was telling the truth. The primordial ruins seemed to be an independent space, and it was starting to collapse. After all, such a situation had never occurred before. They guessed that it might be because the grand formation of the primordial ruins had been attacked, and it caused the space within to become unstable and start to collapse. If we work together, we might be able to obtain some treasures. If we don't, then we can only watch as the primordial ruins collapse, and we won't be able to obtain anything. Grand Marshal of the Sacred Universe Alliance, I'll give you 1 day to consider. Zhao Yang smiled, turned around and left. Han Qi's eyes flickered coldly as he watched Zhao Yang leave. No one knew what he was thinking. Chapter 2239. Sir Deacon, are we really going to cooperate with Zhao Yang? They must be up to no good. After Zhao Yang left, the Wanliang Palace Master, Dong Zhu, stepped forward and said in a deep voice. A smile appeared on Han Qi's face. Why wouldn't we cooperate? If we don't cooperate, I won't be able to open the ancient relic on my own. Dong Zhu and the others were stunned. They might have thought that Han Qi would choose to cooperate with Zhao Yang. However, they didn't expect Han Qi to figure it out so quickly. In fact, this was the only feasible way. Otherwise, as Zhao Yang said, if they didn't cooperate, both sides would get nothing. Since we're going to cooperate, we also have to guard against Zhao Yang and the others, Han Qi said as a series of plans formed in his mind. Grand Marshal, why did you choose to cooperate with the Holy Universe? With our strength, opening the ancient relic is definitely not a problem. In the Divine Universe's temporary encampment, the experts of the Divine Universe looked at Zhao Yang in confusion. Zhao Yang maintained the smile on his face. Even if we can open the ancient relic on our own, what about after? The people of the Holy Universe won't fight over it. This is simply a thankless effort. It's better to cooperate with them. Moreover, I'll take this opportunity to completely crush their army. A cold glint flashed in Zhao Yang's eyes, and he was murderous. What if they don't cooperate? Someone asked. He didn't know why Zhao Yang was so confident. Zhao Yang just smiled faintly. They'll definitely cooperate. As expected, a day later, the Holy Universe sent news that they were willing to cooperate with the Divine Universe to open the ancient relic. The time was set for 3 days later. Palace Master, I keep feeling that the Divine Universe is conspiring with us. Murong Yu finally appeared in person and found the Wanliang Palace Master. The Wanliang Palace's Palace Master gave Murong Yu a deep look. What conspiracy? In the face of absolute power, all conspiracies are paper tigers. Seeing the Wanliang Palace's Palace Master bursting with confidence, Murong Yu was left speechless. In the end, he left. Murong Yu, I heard you wanted to see me? The Alliance Deacon Han Chi looked at Murong Yu with confusion. With Murong Yu's current status, it was impossible for him to meet Han Chi. However, because of his outstanding performance in the previous battle, Han Chi finally allowed Murong Yu to meet him. After leaving Dong Ju's camp, Murong Yu felt that something was wrong. Thus, he went directly to see the Alliance Deacon. Fortunately, Han Chi's subordinates did not make things difficult for him because of his outstanding performance. Mr. Deacon, I think the Sacred Universe Alliance must be plotting something. Murong Yu went straight to the point. He didn't want the Sacred Universe Alliance to be wiped out. Why do you say that? Han Chi looked at Murong Yu in surprise. Murong Yu was the first person who dared to speak to him directly and even suspected him. As for Dong Ju and the others, after he decided to cooperate, no one questioned him. Perhaps they had their own thoughts, but they didn't dare to disobey Han Chi. Murong Yu wasn't afraid at all. He faced Han Chi and said, As for what exactly they are plotting, I don't know. However, I have a feeling that the Sacred Universe Alliance will attack our army at that time. If they trap our great beings in the ancient ruins and start a war, our army will be destroyed. Without great beings, our army won't be able to withstand a single blow. Han Chi's eyes glinted. Why do you think we're the ones trapped and not the other way around? Why don't we attack them instead? Murong Yu was startled. He had also considered this point before. However, he didn't think it was possible. In terms of great virtue realm great beings, the Sacred Universe Alliance had the advantage. Moreover, this was contrary to the Sacred Universe Alliance's strategy. They might be able to kill their great virtue realm great beings, but they definitely couldn't attack their army. Otherwise, they would attract even more great beings from the Sacred Universe Alliance. Murong Yu, you're very brave and have good thoughts. However, you don't have to worry. I've already thought of all these. If they really want to attack our army, I'll make sure they won't be able to return. As Han Chi spoke, killing intent surged from his eyes. Murong Yu laughed at himself. It turned out that Han Chi had already thought of this. He had thought that he was smart. Immediately, he wanted to leave. Murong Yu, the ancient ruins we're going to enter this time are the Dao residences of a Dao master from the Shattered Universe. There are various treasures inside. You should go as well. Han Chi was actually inviting Murong Yu to go to the ancient ruins with him? He was going to nurture Murong Yu. He was already treating Murong Yu as one of his own. Murong Yu smiled bitterly. I'm too weak. If I go, I'll just be courting death. Moreover, I'll be a burden to the deacon. That's why I won't go. I know my place. Han Chi was stunned. He had personally invited him, but Murong Yu had rejected him? This guy was really different from the rest. If it had been anyone else, they would have agreed immediately. However, Han Chi didn't say anything else. He waved his hand and signaled Murong Yu to leave. After Murong Yu left, a trace of a smile appeared on Han Chi's face. Interesting. This kid has a bright future ahead of him. Whoosh. After leaving Han Chi and the others, Murong Yu entered the Hichu Luoshu and returned to the Shenzhen military camp. Murong, Xian, Zhang Ao, Sun Yu and the others gathered. In 3 days, both sides will work together to open the ancient ruins. In order to prevent being attacked, our Shenzhen must be prepared. None of you can go. Guard the military camp. Murong Yu glanced at everyone and said in a deep voice, "Holy Lord, you're not going? I heard that the ancient ruins are the Tao residences of the Tao masters." Duanmu Qing asked doubtfully. "Why not?" Murong Yu smiled. He had rejected Han Qi, but that was because he didn't want to go with Han Qi. Perhaps, when they were in danger, Han Qi would save his life. However, if he followed Han Qi, he wouldn't have the chance to snatch the treasures. Only by going alone would he be able to display his various consummate skills to snatch the treasures. Moreover, he could snatch the treasures from anyone without being afraid of being suspected by Han Qi and the others. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. In these 3 days, Murong Yu set up layers of formations and restrictions near the Shenzhen military camp. In this way, even if they were attacked, Shenzhen could resist for a while until he returned. At this moment, in the pool, there were no longer any crocodiles in the pool. In the past few days, they had been abandoned by everyone. That was because the crystal cores of these beasts contained pure energy that could be devoured by virtue realm experts. The people from both sides were far away from the pool. They were worried that they would be killed by the power of the formation. In the end, the strongest experts from both sides, Han Qi and Zhao Yang, both entered the pool. "Han Qi, are you ready?" Zhao Yang looked at Han Qi. At the same time, he grabbed the void with his large hand. In the next moment, a Tao artifact that emitted a terrifying aura appeared in his hand. A Tao artifact of the Tao ancestor level? Han Qi's pupils constricted. He immediately took out his Tao artifact. It was also a Tao artifact of the Tao ancestor level. "Let's begin." Han Qi nodded slightly and held the Tao artifact with both hands. The energy in his body immediately surged into the Tao artifact in his hand like a surging river. With the infusion of energy and support, the Tao artifact in Han Qi's hand erupted with a dazzling light and aura. Buzz! Buzz! The void in the depths of the pool shook slightly, and then 2 terrifying auras erupted from the depths of the pool and soared into the sky. Plop! 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 As soon as the auras appeared, countless experts from both sides couldn't withstand it and were directly suppressed to the point of kneeling on the ground. Beginner Tao and Tao Lord experts. Even some weaker Tao Lord experts were suppressed to the point of kneeling on the ground. In an instant, only a few people were still able to stand upright and not fall. Murong Yu, who was hiding in the void, was almost shocked out of the void. In the end, he entered the Hichu Luoshu in time to avoid the embarrassing situation of being suppressed to the point of kneeling on the ground. What kind of aura is this? Even a Tao Lord expert was suppressed? It was definitely stronger than the aura of the most powerful Tao Lord expert that Murong Yu had ever seen. This was the aura of a Tao ancestor. Not only Murong Yu, but the others also thought of this problem. Suddenly, a look of horror appeared on their faces. Just the aura alone could suppress them. If it was really a Tao ancestor expert, wouldn't they be killed with a flip of the hand? The difference in strength was too great. It shouldn't be a real Tao ancestor, but just a Tao artifact of the Tao ancestor level. Han Qi and Zhao Yang just activated the power of their Tao ancestor level Tao artifact. Murong Yu thought in his heart and frowned. With such strength, they could definitely wipe out the opponent's army. However, it seemed that they didn't make a move? What was the reason? At this time, Han Qi and Zhao Yang had already activated the power of the Tao artifacts in their hands to the limit. Therefore, the two of them looked at each other, and the Tao artifacts in their hands immediately slashed at the large formation and restriction of the ancient ruins. This was equivalent to 2 Tao ancestor experts attacking the large formation at the same time. Crack! The formation couldn't resist at all. After a crisp sound, the large formation and restriction were blasted into powder. Before this, the attacks of the people of the divine universe only triggered the power of the large formation, but they themselves were killed. However, Han Qi and Zhao Yang's attack instantly destroyed the formation and restriction. This was absolute power. In the face of absolute power, any formation and restriction were like floating clouds and couldn't withstand a single blow. The formation and restriction were destroyed, but Han Qi and Zhao Yang didn't move. They just looked at each other and saw the fear that flashed through the depths of each other's eyes. Haha, can we enter the ancient ruins now? Han Qi laughed and spread out his enormous divine thought. Zhao Yang didn't show any weakness and also spread out his divine thought to inform the cultivators of the divine universe to come down. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.